Sit back and relax while you listen to Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Stan and Steve, we're going to take you all around the world of miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, we continue our ever-present march through the legions for Horus Heresy. In particular, tonight, we are going over the Night Lords. So, just as always, we're going to discuss everything about them except for Rights of War and the Primarch. And now, on to the show. Right, and on tonight's episode, we're going to be continuing our discussions of the various legions for Horus Heresy. In particular, tonight, we're going over the 8th Legion, the Night Lords. As we've done for all the other ones going to the past as well as going forward, we're going to go through everything about this legion, sans the Rights of War as well as the Primarch. We'll get to those at a later point. We also in particular are going to be looking at anything that they put out in terms of the exemplar units. They do have one there. And anything they have in terms of the legacy units, which they have a few there as well. For discussion of the fluff, we've realized none of us are exactly familiar with all of their fluff. So we're going to probably round robin this to a certain extent. But Steve is going to end up starting. He was willing to take that. So why don't you tell us what you know about these dark boys here?
Yeah, so the Night Lords are a legion with they have lots of callbacks to old fluff in the sense that they are full of convicts. It's literally a legion that was founded not even on convicts, but the children of convicts that grew up in prisons on ancient Terra for their first founding wave. I think they were called the Children of the Night or something like that. And then as the Legion grows, continues to bring in the more bloodthirsty, more unhinged, I guess you could say, members of society. And then eventually they get to Nostromo and they meet their good friend, Mr. Conrad Kurz. And he's like, yeah, I cleaned up my planet. So, I could clean up my Legion too. And lo and behold, his planet was only kept in control through the fear he caused. Same deal with his Legionnaires, except eventually they stop respecting him. And behind his back, they're back to their good old-fashioned murderous ways. And then in front of his face, they're back to their good old murderous ways. And, yeah, as a Legion, even before the Horus Heresy, they were on the cusp of censure. They started getting less and less supply, upgrades and stuff, which meant that they had primarily Mark III armor, some Mark IV armor, but very limited amounts of Mark VI armor, for example, at the outset of the Heresy, because they were on the naughty list. For whatever reason, that the loyalists decide, hey, these guys, they're great. Let's bring them along with us to go tell Horus, no, don't you rebel. And lo and behold, the Space Marines they could barely control weren't on their side.
Yeah. I'll pitch in a little bit. These guys are very much, if you're gonna do the job, do it right, no matter what the means. As you were talking, you know what it kind of reminded me of? This is straight up Batman, dark Batman DC universe kind of shit. We're not talking, oh, Batman, he doesn't kill anyone. No, we're talking Batman takes a Mac 10 and shoots the criminal's family in front of his face to make sure that criminal doesn't do crime again. This is I don't even know how to describe. Yeah, they're just they when they do the job, they do it right the first time, and that's their kind of their motto. Why subdue 6 planets when you can flay the skin off of living people and children on the first planet, and all the other planets become subdued? Almost kind of a very Vietnam War era shit. They're nasty, man. They were right on the tip of censure right before the heresy broke out. Again, putting the flayed skin of your enemies on your tanks, probably not what the Imperial Truth wanted in the first place. And what's really cool because their tactics, when we talk about their tactics later and their Legio traits, which I think are really cool. I'll talk about that later, if given the chance. Really look like it's like a prison. It's like a prison gang up. They fight like criminals, and I think that's just neat. Their fluff matches their rules pretty damn neatly.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely. I mean, they have a unit called a terror squad, and it mentions in there that It was designed. Its sole purpose was exactly as it was named. It was meant to instill fear. It's not that the squad's goal was necessarily to kill you. It was to scare the hell out of, say, the planet they were trying to pacify or whatever it may be. It also mentions in the book, going through it, how, not going too much into Primarchs and all, but, most of them had some bit of psychic powers or psychic abilities. Kurz had essentially precognition or premonitions. Most of them all just horrible and dark. He was able to, foresaw his own death and everything like that. And it does mention that essentially at the time of the Heresy, he pretty much goes entirely insane, and the Legion is ripped apart by it because some of them form their own small warring bands. Some of them don't follow any of this. So there's a lot of infighting and all of that. So he, at least what's in here, it seems like they were somewhat doomed from the start, and then only actually got worse when they got their Primarch, where some legions probably felt like they got stronger. It might have been what kind of put a nail in a coffin for them to almost some extent. But yeah, I haven't read any of their particular books. I know they do have some particular books. I know, like, Spencer's a big fan of theirs. He actually has a tattoo on his arm for Night Lords.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, it's it might be their actual symbol or something like that. I know for a fact it has like the bat wings coming off the side, but I don't remember the middle exactly, but it's more of the 40K look to it because he was never a 30K player. So I know sometimes the symbols change over time. So it'd be a much more current one. But yeah, it's on his, I want to say left arm, but I could be incorrect about that. But all right. So who wants to take the
I'll do
the
it.
trait for these
That's
murder hobos?
I will absolutely do it. I love these guys,
Yeah.
or at least I love their trait. I love their trait. It is very fluffy. So, their Legion Astartes rule is called a talent for murder, which very apt. When a unit made up entirely of models with this special rule attacks during the fight subphase, or make a shooting attack against an enemy unit that is pinned, falling back, or outnumbered by an attack, it gains a bonus of +1 to all wound and armor penetration rolls made during the shooting attack or assault. And just it kind of goes into the next part, which is when determining when a unit is outnumbered, models with the bulky special rule count as the number of models in the parentheses, and models with the vehicle unit type count as 10 models for the purpose of outnumbering another unit. So I actually love this rule. It's one of those rules where it's a little bit more complicated to play with. It's not as simple as, like, +1 hit for Imperial Fist. But it's a really, really cool rule. First of all, the idea that they get +1 to wound on pinned, falling back, and outnumbered really plays to that idea of them shooting down people who are running away. That's just beautiful. But the fact that when they outnumber someone, they get +1 to wound, and that's a massive thing. So we've already talked about, like, +1 to hit, how massive that is. Especially with the new weapon skill chart, where if you're like 1 above or you're 1 below, you're already hitting on 5. So +1 to hit, hitting on 2s. What was the math on that, Steve? Going
it's
from
an
3s
extra
to
16% per die per pip.
So yeah, no, it was a very good +1 to wound, in my opinion, and this is completely 100% my opinion. I think it's better than +1 to hit, only because now Contemptors and it's also +1 to armor pen, I should point out. So, side note, it's also +1 to armor pen. I think that now Contemptors are a thing. And Terminators, I believe, are bulky. Yes, they are bulky too. I think that the +1 to wound is even stronger than it was in this edition than it was in the previous edition, because the ability to outnumber a Contemptor with power fists, or even a Paragon Blade now hit wounds on a 4, not a 5. Stuff like that is just, it goes from a 6 to a 5? 6 to a 5. Stuff like that. It's just a lot of things just change up. And that's just not even including, like, normal tactical Marines. Now you're wounding tactical Marines on 3s instead of 4s. I don't know. It's just, to me, I feel like the wounding is a little bit more important than the hitting.
So
it doesn't help for things like, yeah, go ahead.
So it depends on the math. So let's say you're going against some standard Space Marines. We can talk about bigger things later. Statistically, in terms of looking at it one way or the other, you can statistically talk about the fact that it's the same because you have an extra on one side versus the other. Because let's say you're shooting a bolter at a Space Marine. You could be 3s and 4s or 4s and 3s. Sorry, 3s and 3s instead of 2s and 3s. But let's say it was on equal numbers or something. The big thing is when you can hit easier, you have more dice on average getting through that have the ability to wound, where the other way you have a few less. So you could make some arguments there. What it really boils down to when things are nice and equal, when you're sitting all on 4s, let's say, and you could shift one way or the other, it doesn't really make a difference. The wounding instead of the hitting is going to help a lot more on something that you already hit on a reasonable number on, but was just tougher than you, so your ability to wound it was near nothing. So there is some spots. I would say no, when you're talking about like like Chain Fist going against Contemptor and all, that's not really the spot that helps. I would rather get to hit there instead of to wound. But on something that, say, I'm already still hitting on 4s, but I was needing 6s to wound, that's when you might start feeling it a little bit better.
Chain Fist is strength 10 or strength 8?
It's double your strength, so for most things it'd be strength 8. So it's 3s
You
instead
go
of
from
2s.
wounding from 3s to 2s, though.
I would rather, since I'll get on average a lot less hits through that wound easier. I'd rather have more hits come through, because then there's a larger pool of chance to get more wounds in. Again, on a small die pool, it's not going to make a difference, but I should say that's when you really see the difference. Law of averages, most of this will average out in terms of either one, really. Again, some stuff can skew off the numbers, but when you're talking about your own smaller pools where dice averages are not a thing, if you roll 10 dice, there's no such concept as averages to that. You can talk about the average, but rolling outside of it isn't the craziest thing when you have such a small pool. Averages only come into play with large numbers. So when you have a small amount and you could have that variance, that's really where it would start to shine a little more.
Okay.
And
I'll put it okay.
Go ahead.
It depends a lot on what you're attacking.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you are attacking Contemptor, hitting on 2s with a bolter, let's say, right? You're shooting it. Hitting on 2s increases your output by 25% because you're increasing your hit rate from 4 out of 6 results to 5 out of 6 results, or 25% more hits. But when it comes to the wounds, you're going from wounding on 6s to wounding on 5s. That's doubling your output. So it very much depends on the numbers involved.
Yeah. With the non-uniformity in the game, some things it is a big bonus on the wound, other things would be a bigger bonus on the to hit. In general, though, I kind of like to hit just a little bit more because then you have more options to wound. And correct me if I'm wrong on this. It's a bonus of +1 to wound under the conditions. That's fine. But if I couldn't wound it before, I still can't wound it now. So, like, my guy who's shooting a strength 4 bolter, he still can't hurt like a Leviathan. So the +1 to wound, not that the +1 hit would help you, but he's not hurting. He's not doing
correct. Because the table cuts you off and says you can't wound this.
Yeah.
And a +1 to the roll doesn't change what the table says.
Yep.
So it's funny. Against the Contemptor, Night Lords are better at shooting bolters than Iron Warriors. But against the Leviathan, Iron Warriors are technically infinitely better because they can do it and Night Lords can't.
Yeah. And that's a skew model, obviously. I mean, it's out now in plastic, and to date the podcast a little bit, today's the 8th of August when we're recording it. They've shown what's on pre-order for next week, which is the other Leviathan. So, it's a bit of an out there model or a little bit of a skew model, but you're going to see them, so they're worth kind of talking about there. I mean, overall, it's very good. It does mean you got to bring some big squads.
I mean, Terminators do the
Fun fact: there's no rule that says dreadnoughts count as more than one model for this. They don't have bulky, and this gives them no specific provision. Dreadnoughts count as 10 for vehicles with a transport bay special rule, but they themselves don't count as 10 for this.
Really, they're not bulky. I didn't even. It hasn't come up, so I've never thought about
I
it. But
had to do a deep dive on this because one of my local guys does play Night Lords. Like, all right, let me just read up on this, and no, they count as one model for this, which is weird because you see a few people out there doing all Contemptor lists for Night Lords. I guess because it's cool. Gives you a nice large canvas, put your skulls and your lightning bolts and everything on, but
they're
literally
not
never get a bonus.
No, Dan, they're dreadnoughts.
I keep forgetting these fucking.
Yeah, they're not vehicles anymore.
Goddamn nomenclature.
Huh. It still is a really nice rule. It does mean, though, for a lot of your squads, you're not going mins on anything. Because if you're going min, you're probably not getting it unless you put some damage down. So you want to go... I'm not saying you have to go 20-man squads when it's allowed. You could. But you at least want to throw a couple extra guys in there. But I like it. It's a good ability.
But it is funny. It's like, again, very fluffy.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
or pin.
Straight
You take a bunch of
fluff, in
pinning
my
weapons, you'll
opinion.
have it then.
Yes, lots of pinning, lots of morale breaking. Those things will also help trigger this rule.
Yeah, then
so Night Lords absolutely love their rotor cannons.
The one local player to one of the stores I go to, Red Seal Gaming, I gave them like 5 of the rotor cannons and all because I'm not going to use these things. They're like strength 3. I don't care. It won't help me because pinning's fine, but I got plenty of other things I want to put points into. But he wants them because obviously he's going to make, good size squads with, maybe multiple squads with those, try to pin them, and now I get my bonuses no matter what.
Oh yeah, they wound on 4s now. Ugh.
If you happen to outnumber already, yes, but it's more of a way to pin the unit initially, opening up the +1 to everything else.
But still, could you imagine no, sorry. They can only go to 10-man size, right? The heavy support squads?
It's a normal support squad for rotor cannons, but it's only 10.
Yeah, it's 10.
10? Oh, okay. Could you imagine 20 of them? I would laugh.
What they do at 10, they would, in my mind, wouldn't do better at 20 for the amount of points you're going to throw into them. I'd rather 2 10s of those than 120 block.
Oh, okay.
If you could. Remember, you only take the 1 pinning test. Even if I do like 5 wounds to you, you're only going to take 1 test off of that. So I'd rather more options at it because I have another unit. Or I can target other units, or I can break it apart. I mean, at strength 3, I'm not necessarily causing you tons and tons of damage. I'm more of trying to fish for a pin. But I don't know. That's me. All right. We can move on.
So gross.
It can be. It absolutely can be. All right. So, anyone in particular want to take the advanced reaction? Okay. Hearing nothing, I can do it then. That's absolutely fine.
It's always so much reading.
That's okay. Standard advanced reaction things in the beginning, all of that. So it's called the better part of valor. The advanced reaction can be made once per battle during the assault phase when enemy unit declares a charge targeting a friendly unit under the active player's control. That is a Night Lord's special rule. So it's during the charge phase when they choose to charge you. Before the charge is resolved, the target unit falls back as if it had failed a morale check, but it immediately regroups once the move is complete and suffers none of the usual restrictions for a unit that is regrouped and may move, run, charge, and make shooting attacks as normal. If this movement causes the target unit to move more than 12 inches from or out of line of sight of the charging unit, then the active player may redirect the charge to target another enemy unit within range. But if this unit remains within 12 inches and line of sight, so if you can validly charge them, you must attempt the original charge. So you must try to charge them if you actually are physically allowed to. If the fallback causes this reaction forces the reacting unit to reach the edge of the battlefield, it immediately stops moving and regroups, but suffers none of the usual restrictions for a unit that has regrouped and may do the normal move, run, charge, and so on. I've never played against Night Lords. I saw them played once when I was like kind of overseeing a game, helping people out with some rules and all. And he didn't end up using the advanced reaction. And until the last line, I was worried about what happens if you run off the edge of the board. Okay, you can't run off the edge. I'm very, very happy about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, yep.
Yeah, I didn't read ahead. I don't know all the reactions if I haven't played the army or haven't had to teach someone the army or discuss the army. All right. I think it is nice and clearly worded because here's one that talks about if you can't charge them, you get to charge another. And this goes a little bit stronger into our idea when we were discussing, I think it was Emperor's Children. This explicitly states you then get to do something different, because standard rules are if I don't say you can, it's a permissive rule set. You're not allowed to, but we're still hoping for some FAQs there. But I will say the fact that you're able to target someone else really lowers my liking of this.
Well, don't forget, if you have a Legion Vexilla,
Yeah.
you could choose to only fall back 1d6. So it's it's a 7-inch charge. I don't really like the 7-inch charge. I'm going to roll the d6. And I mean, I roll a 6 every time. Like, ask anyone to actually game with. I roll a 6 every time. But that means I didn't roll a 12. So you could stretch the charge farther if you have a Vexilla in that unit, for example.
I did see someone play this on YouTube, where he fell back with his assault squad because he did not like the charge that was coming in, and they were not moderately close to the board, but enough that, like, if he rolled average on 3d6, he'd be off the board. But if he got to the edge, he wasn't going to be able to be charged, and he rolled like a 60 or like something like a 15 on 3 dice. It was nuts. But he doesn't flee off the edge, and with that extra movement, like of a 16, he just lined his assault marines along the edge of the board, and the I think it was a Terminator squad that was charging him got just shit out of luck because they weren't able to charge. And I thought it was hilarious. I thought that was like an excellent use of it.
Yeah, and don't forget, you also regroup at the end of the fallback in this reaction, which means if you go too far, you can pull back. Well, I react, I decide to do my regroup move, initiative inches back towards you to just be within that 12 to technically be a valid charge.
Yeah, and I think to some extent that's what you might need to do. Now, if they're charging something and there's no other valid targets anywhere nearby, that's fine. I just imagine larger games where you have a good amount of units and say their giant block of Terminators are coming in. I don't want them to charge this unit. My guys are going to fall back. And I would absolutely have that concern if I fall back too far. Maybe there's another not quite as juicy of a target because they weren't the ones you targeted first, but still a really good target because now you do get the redirect. Is it with being able to regroup 2d6 minus your initiative to try and make sure you stay in 12,
or plus to get farther back?
Sure, yeah. If you just want to get entirely out of there, you can, or even just like line of sight. Maybe you don't roll that far back, but your fallback is towards your edge and all, but your regrouping could be in any direction you want. So you could actually just try to get some cover or get out of line of sight and all.
I'll put it this way: the minimum you could go with this is 5 inches, and that's because you're in heavy armor for -1 to... Sorry, no, only reactions. All right, the minimum you're going to get is 6 inches because it's 2 dice and then 4 more for your initiative.
Yep.
So you get at least 6 inches away. And if you are a jump pack unit and you don't have any banners or anything, then you're going at most, 18 for 22.
Yeah.
But you can cut that down by an amount. If you have the Vexilla, then you have so much control of where you end up. Because you could say, yeah, okay, I rolled I wanted to go not that far away, just a little far away. You have, that 5 to 10 inch range that you're going to be somewhere inside of. You have a lot of control over this move. So I think this is extremely strong, and it's also fluffy for them. It makes sense for Night Lords to be picking and choosing where they fight. Because lore-wise, they only get into the fights they know they can win. If they don't know they're going to win it, they're not going to go there in the first place.
Yeah.
Because, like it says, this is the better part of Valor.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the... It reminds me a little bit of the White Scar, like not as powerful as the White Scar one. But you know how like we were talking about how powerful the White Scar one just for the ability to reposition the army? This one obviously is not repositioning the army. It's repositioning one unit. But I feel like the ability to reposition is just so powerful, especially in the middle of a game. Because redeploy is such a powerful ability, and that's just before the game. Repositioning, I think, especially when you have like this, and you don't have the hang-ups of falling off the board. Yeah, I like this. I like this one.
I don't mind it. And again, this might be something maybe when you play it out, you do have a little bit more of that control. A bunch of my squads I don't have Vexillas on, so I mean, if you are maybe as a Night Lords player, maybe that's something you want to consider a little more strongly. Because one, you do want to be winning combats. Because you figure you are maybe a little bit more geared towards close combat. Not entirely, but some of your fun stuff is meant for that. And probably what's maybe a little more fun for you is the close combat. But being able to do a 1d6 fallback instead of the 2d6, I can just see the 2d6. I hope I get like a little bit of a distance, and you just roll huge, and even the 4 inches further up, you're a little too far, or maybe there's some other really tasty units around. This one I could see being one that maybe some of them are worthwhile to save for a long time. This one I could see something that you're waiting and trying to save and trying to time perfectly, and you just never use it. So if you know that it can make sure you don't get charged because I'll get out of the range, just use it. Don't try to get too cute with it. But it's not bad. I'm just it's not my favorite compared to other things. That's okay. All right. We are on to some Warlord traits, and they always do. I haven't read every single Legion. Is this true? Because so far everyone I think has had like 3. Did they do this for us so that way it works out perfectly?
Ultramarines only has 2.
Who does? I'm sorry.
Ultramarines?
Oh well, they're lame.
Only
Then.
2.
Okay. Not everyone might not have it, but so far everyone has, and it's worked out awesome. And I like that.
I love how quick that response was. Jesus.
Yeah.
You gave no qualms whatsoever.
Yep. Honestly, I have nothing against Ultramarines. They're absolutely fine. But
so fuck those guys.
Theoretical, Ultramarines are acceptable. Practical, this is Night Lords. Let's go.
Jesus Christ.
All right. Who wants to take the first one then? Who wants Warmonger?
I think I'm next. I'm next in the circle. I think
there we go.
Dan covered the Legion trait.
Circle.
So I guess I'll tackle this one. Warmonger. This is the trader only trait for the Legion. It's a world trait called Take My Traders. Surprise, surprise. A warlord with this trait and a unit he has joined gains bonus of +1 to all hit rolls made when targeting enemy units that include 1 or more models with the independent character special rule and loyalist allegiance. Further, if the warlord with this trait includes an attachment with the Sons of Horus faction, the warlord and unit he joins gains the fearless special rule. In addition, oh my goodness, so many additions. We get an extra shooting phase reaction. So it's one of those ones that gets benefits from allies. We saw this with the white scars as well. And it very heavily says that you want to be playing a game where it's clearly defined, I'm loyalist and you're traitor. I think that these rules are great, though. +1 to hit characters is a nice benefit because, independent character, specifically. Which does limit it compared to Firewing, right? That's all characters?
No, Firewing is independent characters as well.
It is independent,
yeah.
Okay. So this makes your Warlord a Warlord Hunter, essentially. There's going to be at least one, usually 2 to 3 units that will have the independent characters attached. And just +1's nice. You could do it for shooting, you could do it for melee. And that'll stack nicely with the +1 to wound if you happen to also outnumber them, or they're pinned, or they're falling back, or what have you. Just be ready to fight characters if you're taking this one.
Yeah. I like that we've seen this sort of trait before on some of the legions where it's like, okay, you get +1 to hit if it's, say, independent characters and all. What kind of hits a little bit nicer when it's Night Lords is because you're getting +1 to hit the unit with the independent character. And if I can outnumber you, and I'm probably my Warlord's unit, I'm probably going to try and take in a way that I will outnumber you, or at least I give myself the absolute best chance, which means I probably will have a +1 to wound as well. Means that you're going to be able to put out a whole lot more damage. And like I said, hey, take your ally, take some Sons of Horus, and now you're fearless as well. So it's a good one. It's nice. It's a strong one. I like that one. But just play with the other enemy and call them a loyalist either way. Don't do a thing of where then you don't get your bonus because you chose the wrong Warlord trait.
Oh, okay, so I'll be honest. Again, I've watched so many battle reports. Yeah. I have yet to see someone do that shit. Like I've seen everyone be like, "Oh yeah, it's trader only, it's whatever." It's loyalist. Like no one has yet pulled the play of, well, technically, so far people have been nice.
But I agree, and they should be. But also keep in mind, you're watching a battle report. If you're doing a battle report, you figured out ahead of time of what you're doing. Unless this is at like a tournament,
Sure.
if I'm coming in with this, you know what I'm going to play. We've arranged that we're doing a battle report. We've arranged we're filming it. You're not going to take a trait that you can't use against me. That wouldn't even be a discussion ever had.
True.
You know.
Well, you're very true. Very true.
Which of the other two do you want, Dan?
I kind of want Flaymaster. I haven't read it yet, but it just sounds awesome.
It does.
So I want.
I'll take the Jedek Clan Lord.
Sure.
Was that just one of the places on his homeworld, I assume? Okay. So a warlord with this trait and all models that are part of a unit he joins gain the counterattack 1 special rule, and ignore all penalties through the movement and charge rules due to terrain, and may reroll all failed dangerous terrain tests that they're called upon to make. In addition, if this is your warlord, you get an extra reaction in the opponent's movement phase, which fits very fittingly with what it does. I don't know how I feel about this. Counterattack 1 is nice because that means I don't care if I get charged. For honestly, sometimes it's better if I get charged. If I have no other bonus, let's assume you don't have anything else cool that happens when you get charged, or when you charge. That means if you charge me, I still get to make a reaction to it. Maybe I get to shoot you, hurt you. Now I can outnumber you, and I still get the bonus attack. You get your bonus as well, or I can disorder you. You don't get the extra attack, and I do. And
let me just fact check that real fast, because I feel like the reactions might affect that as a rule. But go on.
What do you mean?
Oh.
I feel like counterattack does not work if you set to defend.
Oh.
I feel like I read something.
Okay. No, that could absolutely be a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Hold the line means you do not get the counterattack bonus.
Got it. Okay.
Specifically, it says it under counterattack. But you can still overwatch.
Okay, so I can still shoot you, but I can't hold on. That makes sense. And honestly, you probably want to shoot them up first anyway, because again, you have a better chance at maybe causing some damage, lowering numbers to help guarantee that you're getting your bonuses and all. But no, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe after the third one, I'll decide how I feel with this one. So far, it's fine. I haven't. How much have you guys run into dangerous terrain so far?
A lot, because I play Thalax with the playtest rules.
Oh, well, because you have guys with jetpacks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
and Night Lords do have a lot of I'm not going to say this is how you play Night Lords, but I do see a lot of Night Lord players with Assault Marines or with oh crap, what are their special jump? I mean, they go to 40k too.
Night Raptors,
Raptor
Squad, but
Night
Raptor.
Raptors, yeah. So I could see it. And listen, dangerous terrain for me sucks because you roll a 1, it's just remove a model. Now, thankfully, I'm multi-wound. Not remove a model, but take a wound. Thankfully, I'm multi-wound on most of my shit, but it's just like, that does suck. If you have 1 wound models.
Which most of these guys very well might be. If the normal jump pack guy is going to be. Overall, it's good. I started to like it more than the first one just because it's a little bit more utility, but it's not bad. All right. What happened? Tell us about this skin ripping there.
Totally loyalist, right?
You're allowed to.
Flame
Doesn't say you can't.
Yeah. A warlord with this trait gains the Fear 1 special rule, and each time that warlord is part of a combat that results in all enemy units being destroyed by having all their models removed as casualties or as part of a sweep in advance, or part of a challenge in which the enemy combatant is removed as a casualty, it has increased the value of the special rule by +1, up to a maximum of 3. So you can have up to Fear 3. And in addition, your extra reaction is in the assault phase. Huh. Okay, I have to. Steve, do you have it on offhand? Can you brush me up on Fear again? So I don't have to look at
it is a 12-inch aura of -1 leadership
for
several different things.
Ooh.
I believe it's just morale and pinning, but I'll double check.
I kind of like this trait.
I think this one's very, very good.
Yeah. I really like this trait. Makes people run away, which is what you want. It stacks. So like imagine like a -3, like Jesus. Yeah, I cautiously saying I like this one over all the rest of them. And you know what? You get an extra assault phase, which in my opinion is something you want with the Night Lords.
I do like that each of their traits is a different phase. Unlike some of them where everything was shooting, or it was like 2 assaults and shooting or what have you. Like this is a nice spread. So if you really liked one phase's reactions, you could lean into it while still keeping your Legion traits.
Exactly.
So for fear, because I did open up, it's a 12-inch bubble. They lower the leadership for any morale checks, regroup, or pinning. The one downside to this is enemy units that are locked in combat are only affected by this modifier if they're locked in combat with the unit that causes fear. So you do get the bubble, but it's not going to help your other close combat units unless your unit is the one that's in that combat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a little tiny bit limiting, but still yeesh. Like imagine, okay, so what makes this more powerful for me is the fact that it could also be in a challenge. Like, okay, you destroy a unit entirely or sweep them. That happens maybe once or twice with the Warlord unit, right? During a game. Maximum maybe 3 times. But how could in my special mind, right? You do a challenge, your Warlord kills the sergeant or whatever you put up to kill, right? You win the combat, you sweep them. Now that's +2. You're already at 3 for the rest of the game. Right? Am I doing the math right?
Let's see. So if they're all destroyed in any way, or that is part of a challenge in which the enemy combatant.
Oh, the or. Okay, never mind.
Well, no. So
because you can win the challenge one turn and then kill off the unit the next.
Would it have to be that way? So you get it if it's part of a combat that results in everyone being killed, or that is part of a challenge. I don't know if that or is meant to be you can't have both, but that or could be more of meant because those are very different things. Either I kill everyone or I kill the guy you challenged me with. I don't
know, but even so, it's still good.
Yeah. I don't know the way I'd want to read that. To me, I would say probably your both is okay because it doesn't say once per turn. If you weren't allowed both, I would like for it to have said something. But I could see it being read potentially either way. I don't think it spells out which way you have to do it. But it doesn't say you can't score it more than once. So, and it's capped at a +2 essentially total anyway. So I think that's okay. If it wasn't capped, then we'd have a problem.
Oh my. Fear 10, bitches.
Yeah. Don't lose the combat. Because remember, fear only hurts you if you lose.
I was going to say Batman's quote, and I forgot Batman's quote. What was it? I am the night.
Oh, for Batman. I thought you were going to go with Darth Vader from the comic. Where the rebel soldiers around him yell that he is surrounded. And he says, all I'm surrounded by is fear and dead men. And the next page, he's killed all of them. All right, so that's Warlord traits. All pretty good. I don't know if anyone has a particular favorite for any reason, but
I mean, the last one's just the most fun, I think.
Agreed. It's good too. Like it is fun, but it actually is good. It will do good things for you, especially if you want to pin enemies, and that's kind of what your army's wanting to do. A pinning test. If you can get to -3 on a normal squad, you're probably getting pinned. You're looking at like maybe a 5 on your leadership. Even like a Terminator squad. Oh no,
well,
inexorable.
Terminators are inexorable.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So we are skipping Rights of War for the moment, especially because I don't know if we've went through it quite enough to be able to do that. So we are on to the Armory. Anyone have any particular feelings of what they want to talk about in here? There's actually only 2 things in the main part of the Armory because I put the upgrades as a separate thing.
I'll do the chain weapons because they're actually kind of interesting. Yeah. So, the Nostraman.
Nostraman. Nostromo
Okay.
is the planet.
There's
he's
no
from.
accents.
Nostromo.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, because there were no accents. So I'm like, is that where the emphasis goes? Anyway. So, any model with the character subtype and the Legion Astartes Night Lord special rule may exchange a power weapon for a chain blade or chain glaive for 10 points a model, or a headmaster's axe. Oh yeah, for 15 points a model.
Headmen's axe.
And these are all. What did I say?
Headmasters.
Oh,
Yeah, added a little bit, but it's all right.
Headsman's axe for 15 points, and these are all chain weapons. They're not power weapons. So, a chain blade is +1 strength, AP 3, melee, shred, and breaching 6. A chain glaive is +2 strength, AP 3, melee, two-handed, shred, breaching 6. And then the headsman axe, probably one of my more favorite melee weapons, is ×2 strength, AP 3, melee, two-handed, shred, and breaching.
On the 6 again, yeah.
Yes, on a 6. So, I kind of like these weapons. The headsman's axe, even though it's only breach 6, which kind of could suck, is shred and ×2 strength. Meaning, if you get that breach, and they fail that invul, and you're attacking at initiative here, you kill that model. Most likely, more often than not. So and I like their other weapons too, like their chain blade, and it's a character subtype, so you can give it to your sergeants. But yeah, I really like the headsman's axe. That's kind of my favorite one. Anyway, sorry, that's just my 2 cents.
Well, we talk about it to give our sense. That's literally all this is our
Mm.
opinions the whole time. I think you only give it to your characters and not independent characters or anything like that, because I think there's just so much better weapons for those. Especially for the points, because it is 10 minimum. I'm just looking at like, I mean, it would make sense. What like the spoilers? What is their sergeant options? Power weapons are 10 points, so it's essentially the same cost as that. Power fist is 15, which would be this, although the power fist was at initiative, but AP2 the whole time. I could see it on your sergeant type models because it's the same sort of cost as your power weapon. They're both AP3, and the shred is nice because at least I'm getting to reroll if it doesn't go through. I mean, breaching instead of like some of those ones are rending instead. I'm a weapon that's on base strength. I'm not hoping for that. And this one is +1 strength, which is good compared to say the base power weapon. He can take a heavy chainsword for 2 instead. I'm not sure.
But that has no AP.
Yeah, so it's a lot cheaper, but it doesn't have the AP, which is absolutely necessary. I mean, an AP3 weapon that has extra strength and shred is great.
Yeah, it's a +1 power sword. That's also, shred. The only thing it doesn't do is rend, so it won't help against vehicles and it won't auto wound heavy stuff. But the +1 strength means you're hitting strength 8 potentially. I don't think you need the rending auto wounds, and it's not like you're gonna rely on using rending hits to breach a tank anyway. Not in close combat.
I agree. Yeah, I mean,
I like these weapons. I like these weapons a lot. They do come up again in the Legion specific units, so it's not just your squad sergeants that have access to these. Headsman's axe, I think, is only sergeants, and when it hits really hard. It's just a shame that it's only breaching on a 6. But when it goes off, my god, it goes off. Because instant death at initiative is really strong. At least, against toughness 4 models.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't put this on maybe your independent characters, because they might have just like better options. Like your Centurion, maybe not, because his weapons are expensive. His power weapon is 10 as well. So on him, sure, but like your Praetor, I'd like something heavier on a Praetor. Something that, or potentially something heavier, but maybe that's just me. Headsman's axe, I guess you could make an argument for on him. I mean, they're better than power weapons for what you're going to actually want to fight versus with these sort of weapons. The only thing is, do you want to spend the 15 points on the one for an add initiative ×2 strength at AP3, or going at initiative 1 ×2 strength on, like, say, Chain Fist, something like that, where now you can hurt vehicles. That's the only one I'm unsure of.
Possible side
Yeah.
play. Put it on the sergeant, have an apothecary in the unit, right? Accept the challenge with the apothecary, and have the headsman's axe go against everyone else at initiative.
Or give the apothecary the headsman's axe and keep him
yeah.
safe.
Yeah, or give the apothecary the headsman's
Keep
axe.
him outside the challenge, and let the apothecary reap among the squad. I hadn't even considered that. Oh. Ooh.
Right? Because now
Death
he has
or
free reign
healing.
with AP3 at initiative, and it will kill. So let's say he's going against a unit that has an apothecary in it. That apothecary is not going to do shit.
Oh my god.
The reason I know this is because I know of a local Night Lord player that does this.
I like that play a lot more. If you're going to put it on, like, on quote unquote independent character or anything like that, I like it on that, because here's an attachment. I still have the guy for the challenges. It doesn't have to be this guy going in, because I'm always concerned about the guy going in. Like, he's got the super expensive weapon, but he's really going to get to use it. If you're going against a dude who's a 2-up save, yeah, I kill you if you roll a 1, but if you don't roll a 1, I'm probably just fucking dead. But yeah, I like it on the apothecary. I like that a lot.
It's also excellent versus veterans.
Yes.
Because the strength 8 at initiative AP3, that's all you need. You will rip apart veteran squads left, right, and center.
Yep. No, it's a really good weapon. I remember when well, he was on my team because no, he wasn't. It was a loyalist player. But I was playing Custodians, but even so, I was still scared of the Headsman's Act because it just wounded me on 2. It was still a good weapon.
Yeah. I like it for that. I like it for the thing you add to the unit, not the character in the base unit. But for someone you add in, yeah, because now you got that little bit extra protection. All right. Steve, do you want to talk about the fancy power clause, or do you want to save it for some of these special boys?
Nah, I could take it for the power clause. So, independent character Night Lords can replace power fists with these power claws for 10 points per model. It's a power weapon. It doubles your strength. It's AP2, so, pretty standard stuff. It's melee. It is shred, murder strike 6-up, and it's an unwieldy specials weapon. So it's a power fist that gains shred and murderous strike for an extra 10 points. This is interesting.
Only 10?
10 more on top of a power fist.
Wait, so Paragon Blades are murder strike 6-up, or are they murder strike 5-up?
Why do you gotta ask it when I turned away from the page with the close combat weapons and I went to other random pages? I think it's a 6.
He senses it.
He knows. He's like, you flipped away. Let me go ask a question. I'm pretty sure it was just a 6. I thought, as I look, I don't even know what they put on. Where did they put? Oh, there it is. 6-up only. +1 strength AP2 on a murder strike on a 6.
I know Paragon Blade is how many points?
Usually like 30. On like your Praetor, I want to say it's like 30 points. It's expensive.
Gee, this is such a good weapon, then.
30 points on a Praetor for the Paragon Blade. This would cost 35.
Because remember, he's got to take a Power Fist first. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It replaces the Power Fist.
However, this does give you a quote-unquote Paragon-esque blade on a Centurion, who normally doesn't have the option unless they are a champion. But I don't know if I'd use it that way. Then again, that's kind of the only way you can use it.
How would you use it then? Or would you not use it?
See, now I don't know if I would.
I wouldn't.
Just because it's unwieldy, and the murderous strike at this point, now it's going to change in a couple weeks when Mechanicum drops. But at this point, the murderous strike is redundant on the strength 8, and the shred doesn't get as much as it could. But if you wanted to go dreadnought hunting, this isn't the worst option you have, because you have the shred. But I'd rather have what's it called? The multiple hits. I'm blanking on words. Brutal.
Yeah, I'd rather have brutal.
Yeah, you're right.
Part of the problem to me is it's an extra 10 points on top of your power fist. Like I said, if this is your guy in Cataphractii or Tartaros, you know, maybe then still it's a bit more, but maybe a little bit less than your guy in the normal armor. My problem is, okay, it's shred, which is nice. It's going to save me in case I roll that one. Because, okay, I'm double strength. Let's assume you're hitting a normal-ish Space Marine or something that's not higher than, like, what, toughness 7. All right, so I'm wounding on 2s. But I only get Murder Strike on a 6 because Shred only lets you reroll fails. If Shred was, you get to just reroll if you choose, I would like the weapon more because I could hunt for 6s. If I'm wounding you on a 2, I can't really hunt for them because I'm probably just whatever I roll originally is most likely going to be my roll with very little miss. The shred is not. I don't know if the shred and the murder strike for 10 more points is going to get you really much of anywhere. I don't know. What's Legion Cataphractii Praetor? If he wants a Power Fist, is 10 points. So, and he can take a Chain Fist or Thunder Hammer or Paragon Blade for 15 instead. So this is 5 more points than any of those options. I don't know if it's much better than those options.
The other unit that has the option to take this is the Contekar squad leader. So I would consider it there.
Okay.
But that's like my list. I would put all the independent characters personally. Unless you have a really bitchin' power fist that you wanted to put on your character and want it to be special.
Special snowflake.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
It's not.
They do have war gear, which is nice though. I mean, like, it's not. At least it's like they have Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I'm not a huge fan of it because I don't know if you're getting that much extra out of your 10 points. Like I said, if Shred lets you just reroll and you could go hunting, I'd love it. But it's okay. All right. So they have a variety of model upgrades. They don't have an exactly like some of those ones where they have a Consolaris or anything like that. They have just essentially it looks like model upgrades. So I'll start this off. We'll go with the Lords of Murder. So it's any model that's both an independent character and a Night Lord that does not also have the unique unit subtype, may be given the Bloody Murder special rule for 5 points. And what the special rule is, it says, when a unit composed of entirely of models with this special rule declares a charge targeting a unit that is pinned or falling back, the charge roll gains additional +1 modifier. If the charge is successful, then all models in the charging unit get +1 attack for the duration of the turn in which that charge was made. So for 5 points, assuming the rest of your unit has it, and it must be their special units, I'm sure do, then if the unit you want to go against is pinned or falling back, you have +1 to your charge, and you get +1 to the attacks. I mean, for 5 points, assuming you're going to throw your guy in a unit that has this rule, that's nice and cheap at least. Curtis has the rule naturally. If anyone else has thoughts, I'm seeing who has this rule.
It's the Terror Squads and the Night Raptor squads.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would take. Listen, 5 points. 5 points is easy enough to snap up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I would take it.
And this is one of those things that says, hey, you want to pin your targets.
Yeah.
Or break them. Which would be really nice if you could, debuff their leadership somehow.
And if they're already running, and you have fear, and you catch them, because you're easier to catch them now because you have the +1 charge, so I've made it to you. You have to take the test. You fail it, I just get rid of you anyway. Oh, would you get the plus for that? Does that count as a sweep? If you run someone down because they were fleeing, and they fail it, is that a sweep?
You do destroy the unit, I think.
Yeah. Oh, the destruction.
I'll do a deep dive.
Well, you're doing because if we go back and take a look at the way the rule was worded here, as part of a sweeping advance, removed as casualties or as part of a sweeping advance. So as long as it says they're removed as casualties, yeah, it would count.
Well, I mean, I would hope they were.
I would think so too, but we've known from playing this game or other Games Workshop games, sometimes the wording that they use
removed as a casualty.
Yeah, so it would count. So yeah, you do that, now you're even causing more fear. we've seen enough spots where GW sometimes with the way they word things, they change one or two words somewhere, and it all means the same. Removed as a casualty, and here it says the models are removed from the battlefield or something like that. But then you get into that wording of, does it mean the same or not? That's occurred in multiple editions. If anyone's somewhat new to this game, there was at one point, they had 6 or 7 different ways to essentially say, remove the model. And the question came in from a lot of people is, are they all meant to be the same? It makes sense they should, but if all of our rules talk about it differently, do all of our rules work or not? So
there was slain, removed from play, and there's another one. I can't think of the top of my head, but I know there was
at one point there was a whole bunch, and it was, I remember that being a discussion of do these all really mean the same? It makes sense they should, but why is there so much different wording when it's a very simple thing to correct?
Yep. For anyone that did not know, if you want to start causing those morale checks, start ramming with your vehicles.
Yep.
Because every time you ram a squad, they take a morale check. Specifically a morale check. Even if they take no casualties. Because, oh god, a tank is driving at me at full speed.
It's great for your rhinos. Your squad, out there, anything like that. I try to smack you with my rhino. You fail it. Now you started running. Now I'm going to shoot you down. If I can cause enough casualties, you're running. That here it could do good. If you can get fear, I don't mind hitting people with vehicles. If you can't, I'm not a huge fan of it, or on big vehicles because you're wasting shots. But I'll say your rhinos, yeah, they're not doing anything. I'm not firing my bolter at you. I'm not going to hurt you.
Rhinos do have multi-meltas.
Yeah, if you want to pay more than the rhino. Or almost the same cost as the rhino. The multi-melta I want to say is 30 points on a 35-point rhino. How much is the
multi-melta? Is it really? Oh my god.
It's a 20-point upgrade.
Okay. So if you only want to almost double the cost. Is it really? I thought it was more than that. No, a multi-melta? No, pintle mounted multi-melta, 30 points on a rhino.
Oh, okay. I might be thinking of something else.
The next most expensive is Havoc Launcher at 15, then a bunch of 10s and some 5s. But yeah, the multi-melta is 30 points. I don't know if I want to double my cost.
Oh, because it's 20 on land. It's 20 on a Land Raider.
Yeah,
that's why.
It's cheaper on the Land Raider.
Steve only runs Land Raiders.
Currently panning out my other rhino. I'm definitely not putting multi-meltas on them. That's for sure. All right. Who wants to talk about this prey site?
I'll take it because I know what the spill out effects to this are going to be. So prey site. All models in the unit composed entirely of models with the night special rule may be given the night vision night vision special rule for 15 points per unit. Unfortunately, that means it will be 15 points for the characters too. I think. But what that means is that you ignore all the night fight. So you will be choosing to have night fight if you even, take one unit with this rule. Night fight has a lot of debuffs. It has a 24-inch line of sight limit. It's a -1 penalty to leadership and ballistic skill. And that extra -1 to leadership makes your pinning that much better. So it just stacks on itself. It's great. And again, leads to that whole I am the night kind of thing they got going on.
And yes, if you were taking an independent character and you want it on them, you would have to pay it because they are technically purchased as a separate unit. And night vision, does that confer to a unit? I would assume no.
That is what I'm currently trying to find, but I forget how the outfit works, and I can't find the letter N.
That's all right. I'm.
It's always weird. Some confer and some don't, which does get annoying.
At least one model.
Yeah, so don't take it on your character. Take it on the
and no model may take shrouded rolls to negate wounds inflicted by their attacks, which means no evade.
Ooh, that's, to me, especially on certain squads, that's the spicier part. I'm hitting you easier, which is nice, but the fact you don't get the shroud.
Here's some plasma guns you can't dodge.
Here's my missiles. I get the fire full range, and you're in normal armor. You are taking this. You don't get essential 5
Here's my 10-man las cannon. Here's my 10-man las cannon unit. Enjoy.
That's too many points.
Yeah, the spill out effects is very nice, and that's why it's 15 points. And arguably, I think this is even better than the Emperor's Children 20-point unit white upgrade for the -1 to hit. If you have an army that even slightly takes advantage of it.
Yes.
Hmm.
I'm trying to recall the Emperor's Children one better because
The Sonic Shriekers.
Yes. No, I like this better. I absolutely do like this one a lot better. And at 15, I mean that's not too bad. Or like I said, you could put it on certain units, or if you know where your character wants to go, you could just put it on the character. He's standing in the unit that wants to shoot the first turn. Then next turn he's going to pop out and he's going to go walk with a different unit where you care about it more or something like that. You have some options, or just put it on the guys who want to really cause good heavy range damage because that's probably who needs it the most.
You know what else you could do?
What's
I
that?
just realized. The way this is phrased, you could put this on a vehicle. It's 3 times the cost of a searchlight, but it means you can't get shot back.
Yeah, there's nothing that says you can't.
In Night Fight.
And to me, it makes sense. We have night vision now essentially on vehicles and all. That's an actual thing. So, yeah, that's actually really good news.
I'm not saying you should throw this on your rhinos. Absolutely. You
No, but
can
like, put it
have
on a
sacrificial searchlight rhinos, but this is interesting. Like that, you could throw that on a Land Raider with triple las cannons and laugh.
I would put it on a Kratos.
Kratos too, yeah.
The Kratos is already kind of short ranged. I like on the Land Raider or other like 36 to 48 weapon range with things, because night fighting, you could spend the first turn shooting with no repercussions. You need an augury scanner to ignore the 24-inch line of sight limitation, which vehicles won't have, or a searchlight, which vehicles can have, but then they have the downside of they are always visible.
Wait, but if this night vision. I thought it ignores all night fighting. No, it's just night vision. Got it. Okay.
Wait, what was your confusion? Because it sounds like you essentially came up with exactly what night vision is. Night vision ignores night fighting. And shrouded.
And also shrouded.
Do you have the range restriction with Prey Sight?
Prey Sight gives you night yeah. No. You ignore night fighting.
Night vision ignores night fighting.
Oh, all right then. Yeah, no, I like this. Yeah.
No, this is good on your vehicles because you don't make yourself a target. And on a heavier vehicle, like I said, with those last cannons, what they probably will end up wanting to do as a reaction, no matter what anyway, or they probably will want to take it, is doing shrouded, and you don't give it to them.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I'm gonna be a bad boy. You know what I'm thinking? Put this on your I forgot what they were. The Deradeo with the plasma carronade, or the Sicarans with the plasma, and just go to town murdering vehicles or infantry outside of 24. Because the Sicaran plasma is absolutely insane. I want to say it's called a plasma carronade. It's a Volkite carronade. I know, Dave, you bought one. Volkite's the carronade. Oh, what the hell's the plasma called? That's going to drive me up the damn wall.
In any case, this upgrade it's a really, really powerful upgrade, and I don't know if people have even
It's an Omega plasma array on the Sicaran. Omega plasma array, because it's Kheron Omega.
Oh, that's why I can't find it. I bet you find it. It's probably under
under plasma.
Let me see here. No, I tried. No, it's not. It's under Omega plasma array. So, heavy 8, breaching 4+, twin linked, right? Or heavy 2, rending 4 up, gets hot, plasma burn, twin linked. And plasma burn is
it's fake exoshock.
But on a 4+, ew. You lose an additional D3 Vul points.
That's really good.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, I would put. Oh my god. Give me all the Deradeos and Sicarans.
Play a real army and you can have them.
You know what?
You know what? This guy's gonna have a book in 2 weeks. It's okay. He'll have one army.
One
army of 3. 1 out of 3 will be playable.
Odd question. I know this has nothing to do with the Legion. If they release an electronic book, does that get available immediately when you buy,
yes.
Or
it would have the same streak?
Yeah. If you pre-order, you don't get it ahead of time. No.
Okay.
No. It's all street dated.
I'm bored of the shit. Okay.
You're more likely to get it early physically than early digitally.
Very true.
I'll put it that way.
Where's my GW order? GW.
That's what I said normally. As long as it's nothing in too high demand with not nearly enough supply. All right. Trophies of Judgment. We got one last thing. I'll do it, and then someone else can talk about the first Terminator Squad. Any model that's Legion of Astartes, so Night Lord special rule, and the character unit subtype gets the Sphere 1 rule for 10 points. If they already have any version of Fear, they cannot take this. So it can't stack. But if you have a model that essentially is a character, you can give them the Fear rule for 10 points if they don't already have it. I mean, it fits perfectly with what they do. And these guys didn't have their own form of a Consularis, so if you kind of liked taking that character special unit in your in your Legion, they don't have one, so you technically might have some spare points. I like this on say your Terminator Squad or something like someone who's going to be up in the front lines. Not anyone in the back because they'll never get close enough, but someone on your front lines, or maybe your Despoiler Squad, something like that. I like it. I think it can do a lot of good.
I was so ready to have this with the Warlord trait.
They knew that part
until you said it doesn't.
It makes sense. I mean, otherwise that's going to get too much.
I know. Could you Fear 4?
Sir, Mr. Kurz only has Fear 3. Calm down.
He fucking, oh my god, go home.
But it will stack with night fighting.
So you get this on a character who's nice and up front. You're still in night fighting. You get a lot of minuses. It's going to do you a lot of good. They got a lot. Their stuff is fun. It's fun in a horrible and twisted way, but it's still fun.
Speaking of fear-causing things, they get up really fast. We have the Terror Squad. They got Infiltrate, so they will get there. So Terror Squads are a very, very nice little unit. It's the cost of a veteran squad, and it's almost a veteran squad, except it's not a veteran squad. So it's a standard Marine stat line with an extra attack and an extra leadership. Same deal on the squad leader. Squad leader with an extra attack and extra leadership. So we'll get 3 attacks on him, leadership 9. 2 attacks on the regular guy's leadership 8. They come stock with a chainsword, a bolt pistol, power armor, frag, and crack grenades. They are a skirmish subtype infantry, which means that they have a 3-inch coherency and +1 cup to cover saves, as long as the entire unit is skirmish. They're Night Lords. They have Fear 1, Precision Strikes, 6 up, so that's going to be close combat. Hit rolls of 6, the attacking player gets to allocate. They have Infiltrate. They have that Bloody Murder special rule, and what's really fun is they get Preferred Enemy Infantry.
Ooh, that's good.
Their transport options are Rhinos, Red Claws, and Drop Pods. So if you wanted to get Drop Pods in without doing a pure drop podding army, they could do that. Sadly, no drills. They're my new favorite thing in the game. I've been playing with them a lot the last couple days. But yeah, no. Drop pods are absolutely another viable delivery system. I don't think I love them. Then they could infiltrate, but if you want a drop pod, you could drop pod. Adding extra bodies is 18 points each. One guy can have a Vexilla. Any of them can add on a bolter for a point, a Volkite charger for 2, a rotor cannon for 5, or a flamer for 5. And any of them may swap out their chain sword for a chain blade for 10 points, a chain glaive for 10 points, or a chain axe for 5 points. So already have a unit that's basically veterans -1, I guess you could call them. Is it veterans +1? Because they are far squishier with the 1 wound apiece. They are an elite slot, but that's malleable in certain rights of war. The squad leader can have a plasma pistol, hand flamer, or Volkite Serpenta, and can swap out the chainsword for a power weapon, a power fist, or a lightning claw, and they can take artificer armor on the sergeant. It's a nice unit. Precision strikes is nice. Precision shots would have been better, because then you could take weight of fire on the rotor cannons, focus it on the sergeants, and brute force your way down to like a double leadership debuff by killing the squad leader and then killing the shell shock one. and then throw in fear. But alas, it's precision strikes. So before you get too excited, close combat. You can kit them up to do whatever you got them to do, whatever you need them to do, as long as it's terrorizing infantry. Anyone have preferred enemy handy? Cough, cough, Dan.
Oh, that one's easy. It's just whatever your preferred enemy, you reroll ones on hits and wounds. That has not changed at all. Ever.
On all against all infantry. Yeah. That's nice.
All infantry.
Does it confer to attached models?
Yes, it does. That's one of the very few that do confer.
It's pretty damn good.
That's yeah.
You might.
As someone who abused the shit out of preferred infantry with my Myrmidon Destructors, yes, this is very good.
They might not have the preferred shots, but I still like this unit with a few rotor cannons in there because, like I said, you're Fear 1, you're infiltrating, so it could still be night fighting. You have great chances of pinning someone.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and then you follow it up and you charge them. They're pinned, so they're not reacting, and you're getting bloody murders. So now you're getting 4 attacks on the basic guys and 5 on the squad leader. And any number of the guys could take it. It's 5 points apiece, though, which is the downside. But you could take, 2 or 3 of them, roll a bucket of dice, get at least 1 hit in, and with a -2 to leadership between the fear and the shell shock, you have decent odds.
I was looking, and I know the headsman can take the headsman's axe essentially if he wants. Was it an axe? Was that the name of it? Okay. I just find it funny they call him a headsman, and they just didn't give him that.
Last edition, he was the one non-HQ model that could take it.
Because you still can, because you're a character, so you're allowed to for 15 points. But the fact they called him that, I would have liked if they just give him that. And if you want up the points a little bit,
But what if you wanted a Power Lance?
Steve, go home with your... It's never going to work, Steve.
Listen, I'm going to convert that unit this week, and I'm going to find out for real if it works or not.
Honestly, no. The Power Lance is not bad. Because going before is always nice. That's what potentially keeps you alive. Just if you're called a headsman, I can't imagine him not having that axe.
I should point out, side note, I know I should have mentioned this with the headsman's axe. Some people have done some really freaking sick conversions on the headsman's axe. Because it's not really a chain axe, it's not really a power axe, it's kind of like its own thing. It's a headsman's axe. And some people have done some really sick options. Someone took Jesus. I think it was an old fantasy model. I think it was Wood Elves, and they had these big kind of glaved axes, and it looked like an executioner's axe, and it just looked really, really good. Just a little side note.
It would probably be, it probably would have been like a Wood Elves type thing. All right. Overall, I mean,
if you wanted to dump points into them for 250 on 350 points, you can have. Oh wait, you can take up to 10 additional.
Yeah, you can add 180 points worth to get to 15.
So they cap. They cap at 15. So you could get if you just throw a bunch of bodies in there, the rotor cannons having a +1 to move. That's a nice bump. Going from 5s to 4s is that's no joke. And you also, the Volkite Chargers are not a bad call at all, because it's only 2 points a model, and it's strength 5, which means against Marines, if you outnumber them, as a Night Lord, you're going to be wounding on 2s.
Yeah, when I originally looked at it, that's what I liked with the Chargers. I mean, the rotor cannons are very good for the potential of pinning, although that won't always work, obviously. But you are spending more. The Volkite Charger getting 2 shots, deflagrate, you're at strength 5. That's pretty good.
Rerolling ones.
Rerolling ones on hits and wounds.
But not on the extras for deflagrate. It's the base stats only on deflagrate.
Hold on.
Dan, I read this rule specifically.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say.
Deflagrate is base stats only, no special modifiers. But still, it's...
But I like them with that.
But you still 2s with a reroll. Yeah,
they're essentially 20 points a model.
But the rotor cannon is another great option because it supports the rest of your army.
And you could do the full squad at that at 325. That's not too bad for a unit that infiltrates. I don't like spending that many points on Marines if they're having, especially with short weapons, if they got to come marching across the board. But you have infiltrate, you can get close or get closer. Now you can actually do some
Yep.
damage.
And you can attach an
Yes.
apothecary. Because apothecaries gain unit rules, the apothecary will get infiltrate and be able to sneak up there with them. If you wanted to add a little more durability to your otherwise very, very squishable squad.
Squishable.
No, they're good.
All right, Dan, you want to take Night Raptors?
Oh, so yeah. Wait, I'm going to take Contekar.
Oh, you want to take
I can do
Contekar?
Night Raptors then if you want to wait for those guys. That's absolutely fine.
Do Night Raptors.
Let me just write my timestamp. There we go. All right, so Night Raptors, 185 points for 5 guys. Ooh, that's expensive, but they got jump packs, so makes sense. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I'll understand. Oh yeah, I'm seeing a few things that I like to look of. So, move 7, so standard move. Weapon skill 5, so they're the one better weapon skill than a base Marine. Normal Marine, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, initiative. For wounds, they are 2 wounds, so they have veteran stat line on that. They also have the veteran stat line for leadership. They're 8-9, 3-up save. At least at 5 guys. They're chainsword bolt pistols. They have their grenades. They have the jump pack and their power armor. They are skirmish as well, which is useful. They are relentless, which will matter for a few of the options because some of the guys, much like veterans, 1 in 5 models can exchange a bolt pistol or essentially one of their weapons for something else. And it's not always the same between those, but essentially exchange a weapon for something different. But you are relentless because they can take things like plasma guns. Sudden Strike 1. Remind me, what does Sudden Strike do?
On a turn you charge,
That's
you
what it was.
increase your initiative by that amount.
Next Legion we do, I think, is Blood Angel. So hopefully by then I remember it. Yeah. So by that point I'll remember it.
So I hope you do.
They have Bloody Murder, which is the rule that we talked about before. They have Fear 1 natural, and they have Night Vision. So they I always forget the names of which one. Which one is it with the jump packs? Is that the spoilers? No. Yes?
Oh, it's Assault Squad.
The
spoilers are the
Assault Squad.
ones.
So they're an Assault Squad with a little bit more veteran style stat line, better weapon skill, and they get a bunch of their special rules or the special war gear that we were reading earlier. You can take up to 10 more, they're 25 points a guy. Any model can take their chainsword and turn it to a chain blade or glaive for 10 points, lightning claws or a power weapon for 5 points. Which isn't bad to put at least a couple power weapons in there if you're not wanting some of the other chain weapons. Although for the extra 5, it's probably worth having it on a few of them to get to that AP3. Any model can exchange their chainsword and bolt pistol for a pair of lightning claws for 10 points. And 1 in every 5 can swap out their bolt pistol for either flamer, meltagun, plasma gun, plasma pistol, or hand flamer for various points. Pretty close to the standard points you would have for those. The Huntsmaster, so their character in there, can take a plasma pistol or Volkite Serpenta, and he can also, of course, take his Artificer armor. So Assault Squad is 145 points, although, I mean, it's 10 of them, but 145 points base. These guys are a bit more, less guys, but better stat line. Their weapon skill is a lot better. The 2 wounds helps a lot. Their leadership is nice because you do want higher leaderships. And then they just have a lot of special rules, especially if you can get the charge.
They attack with better initiative.
That's the biggest
charge.
Thing. If they can get to that better initiative, and you take a couple power weapon type items in there, whether it's power weapons or even the chain blades, so that way I can actually cut down normal Space Marines.
So the way I've seen this squad run, because I've seen people who played Night Lords absolutely take these guys because they're awesome. The way I've seen these guys run is to give them chain glaives. Not lightning. I don't know. Oh yeah, because you still want the pistol. You give them chain glaives because sure it gets expensive, but now you have an entire assault squad with AP3, but also breaching that can shred at strength 6, initiative 5 if they charge. That's how I've seen this squad run.
You mean strength?
Yeah, the glaives.
Glaive. Sorry, yeah,
glaive. Yeah.
You don't get a bonus attack on the glaive, though, because it's two-handed.
Yeah, I know, but... Okay, so you trade wounding on 3s normally for wounding on 2s. And remember, they have jump packs, so they do outnumber as well. So if you take 10 of them, so if you max squad, that's 20 Marines.
If you max squad, it's 30.
You can add 10 guys.
Wait. Oh, you can add... Oh, that's right, because this is the weird 15. Oh, I hate when they do that. God, I hate that. So it's yeah. So you have max 30 guys. So you're gonna outnumber pretty much anything. I wouldn't even give them guns. Like I wouldn't waste points on like pistols. I would just give them the chain glaives. Yeah.
Plasma gun amuses me, but I'm not gonna say you should.
I don't mind a plasma gun or something like that on them. Being relentless, okay, it still works. The biggest game wise I played so far is 2K. And what I find in 2K is these guys would not be firing their weapons, most likely, because my opponent, or me if I was the one fighting against them, would probably be saving my reaction because I know these guys are going to hurt me really bad if they get in the close combat. So I want you to fire some sort of weapon at me so I can fire a bunch of shots back at you because I'm going to count as stationary. So I will often have the advantage, at least in terms of numbers in a lot of ways. I mean, if you got a lot of their scary stuff and you can fish out their reaction, sure. But I'm always concerned about that. Like, okay, maybe I get one cool shot, but then you shoot me down. And now I'm a few models, maybe I lose a model or two. I'm no longer outnumbering you, perhaps. Yeah.
No, that's a valid
maybe
concern.
in larger points it's not as much of a concern, but so far, my Terminator squad's no longer fire shots. Usually. Because whatever I'm firing at is gonna potentially be trying to save a reaction for that to maybe kill a Terminator or two, because that's really where I make a big difference. Because then I'm gonna charge you and you're gonna shoot me again. And two rounds of shooting into me, I'm gonna lose some guys.
Oh no, I agree. I just think it's an amusing option to have on the table.
Yeah. Oh no, it's absolutely amusing. And if you really want to get spicy,
so,
take the melta gun.
Night
Destroy
Raptors?
their vehicle, charge the people inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you could do that. You
Yeah.
can charge guys inside. I forgot. I looked it up this weekend and then I promptly forgot.
Oh no, I'm glad they. I should. That is a good change. I remember you.
That was a rule.
That pissed me off. It's one thing to
normal
like
7th. That was a rule.
I don't think that was in.
Yeah.
I don't think that was in first.
No. In 5th it was a rule. I think in 4th it was a rule. I think they restricted your ability to
6 and 7, you could still charge the unit. If you kill their transport, you could still charge the unit inside. They I know in 6th it was a thing. Maybe in 7th, maybe they had some weird shit there. But I know before it was absolutely a thing.
Yeah, 7th had lots of stealth changes. Oh, but yeah, no. These guys justify taking multiple rotor cannon and sniper squads. Because if you get that pin, they can't react to the charge. Which means they can't set to defend. And you get another bonus attack for bloody murder. So you'll be getting, if you have the little chain blade or the chain sword, it's going to be 3, 4, 5 attacks a guy.
Yes.
6 if you're a madman and go dual lightning claws. 7 on the unit leader with dual lightning claws. They're blenders. They are absolute blenders. And they kill you before you swing back. So your swings back are going to be so much less effective. They're swinging simultaneously with Praetors, which is also a big deal. They're just terrifying, man. They're absolutely terrifying.
Night Lords are terrifying. I'm just laughing at the meme.
That they're terrifying, or are you posting memes somewhere while we're in the middle of recording?
Because Night Lords want terrifying to do terrifying things.
Yeah, no, they are very good. They're going to be expensive to be able to do that well with enough guys, but unless you're going against things that are 2-up saves, you're going to be cutting through them. And with 12-inch move, you can avoid the stuff that's slow and would be a problem. Because, Terminator unit's going to be a problem for these guys. You can avoid them. You move really fast.
Even if... Hold on. Even if, though, that's why I take the little chain blades, because you're wounding on 3s, but you get shred, so you're re-rolling. So you are more likely to fish for those 6s. And by sheer just weight of dice, cut a couple of them down. Because you're going to go first. You're going first, as long as you get that charge off.
True. I don't think you would necessarily do terrible against them, but they're going to potentially cripple the squad. Depending on how many you take, but I would throw them at literally anything else. I would throw them at Terminators if I had to. Otherwise, I'm throwing them at all your line units. I'm going to take away all your scoring because I'm moving 12. You know,
You could also, if you really wanted to, take power axes
Yeah.
on a couple guys. In case of Terminator break
yeah,
glass.
because the power weapon there, 5 points. You have enough guys to eat the other ones. They're very good. I like them a lot. And they how Night Lordsy compared to 40k would these guys look? I haven't looked at the Forge World ones. I'm assuming they still have more standard jump packs. They haven't started going to the almost toothy jump packs, or do they actually have that?
Actually, I don't know. Let me see.
They wouldn't be toothy
Yeah.
because that's warp corruption, but it's like that style of backpack that the actual.
Although, to be fair, Siege of Terra, everyone was pretty much corrupted by that.
But not warp corrupted. Not necessarily.
Engrom
Okay, so
would
he
like to
was.
tell you something.
Right. But I said not necessarily. It varies by legion.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm looking at them right
Night
now.
Lords were
Oh no,
not
they're not.
chaos
Oh,
warfare.
actually, so
I'm
here's the
looking
weird
at
part, Dave. So their chest pieces are very 40k. I'll give it. Wait, does that one dude have this flayed skin on his arm? That's hilarious. His arms are flayed skin. He's wearing. Okay, that's great. No, I don't think they look like they're 40k compatriots at all.
No.
Maybe the heads at the moment.
I've converted a squad from the 40k models. It's doable. It's just a lot of scraping.
Yeah.
I think they're. If it's on the YouTube, I'll post up so people can see this as well. They can take a look. I think their heads look stupid. I think their heads look absolutely ridiculous and stupid. The rest of it, I don't mind. Covered in body parts and all. Okay, it's very fitting. Okay, they cause fear. It makes sense. But I think the helmets. It looks no.
Not a fan.
Honestly,
of the
it's not even so much the bat wings. I'm not huge on the bat wings, but I'm okay with that. It's also the way they do the front grill and all. It 100% looks like an animal. So we haven't had a chance to be able to do episodes outside of doing this because there's so many Legion and all that makes sense. But at some point, we're gonna go back and we're gonna talk about those Space Wolf heads and why
No, oh my god, please
they're
no.
ridiculous.
Please,
and to
no.
me, this reminds me of the Space Wolf head because it's so on the nose. Like, oh, you guys like bats, right? Your face is a bat. Like, not even just wings. You are a bat. God, I hope their special Legion heads aren't just actual giant bats.
There was a Reddit post about that, and I died. Whereas they were like saying it was for who was it? Space Wolves, Night Lords,
Salamanders, and Alpha Legion.
Oh, you saw it? Okay, good.
That's all like Lego. I think it was like Ninjago.
Lego pieces. Yeah, I was dying.
Like Blood Angels, they'll show they've done their stuff. Like, it wasn't a giant drop of blood for a helmet. Like, come on, you don't have to be so literal. If you like them, that's fine. That's too much for me. It's too 40k.
I should point out that technically, and someone made a very good point. Technically, those helmets aren't supposed to replace every single tactical squad member. They're only supposed to be on the sergeants or
not necessarily.
Well, no, because I'm saying someone was saying if you put those wolf heads 1 in every 20 for the sergeant, then I could okay. It's not bad. It's not bad. You know what I mean?
Then tell it to Emperor's Children, who got completely shorted on their special fancy helmets.
Here's my rebuttal to that. Yes, you can do that. And you could do that with any of these special heads. But to me, I should want to put them everywhere. I don't have to. I can show restraint if I truly care. But I should want to be able to do it and feel okay doing it. If I made a squad with all those wolf heads, to me, they're going to feel ridiculous. So for my Dark Angels, I had 40 of the old Legion specific heads. I used every single one of them. I made full squads of those guys everywhere. Used it everywhere because it looks cool and it works very well. The new ones would look cool and work very well. Most of the legions work that way. You could do it. The Space Wolf one, yeah, if you do any more than sprinkling it in, it's gonna look just too much to me. It's just over the top in a way that I don't like. But if you like them, cool, go for it. Or if you haven't yet, go and look up the meme where it's every part of him is the Space Wolf head. I absolutely love that.
Oh, I sent that one. The one where he's
I've seen
shooting
that one
out
as well.
Space
Yeah,
Wolf's
he's
heads.
on the Logan Grimnar's Santa sled. Although
Yeah.
that one misses something big. The sled itself is not an upside down wolf head. And for that reason alone, not good enough.
Yeah, actually, that would have been funny.
All right, let's get onto these Terminators, Dan. I think you said you wanted to talk about the Terminators.
Yes. So, little side note, because I didn't read the rules yet. I wanted to go into this blind. Side story about this. I am terrified of these Terminators as a Custodes player because they did something that no other unit did. So one of the big problems with Custodes was they didn't have enough attacks to be like out swamped by someone, or sorry, they could be swamped by someone, right? When I charged these Terminators at an event, I did not realize that they took away my ability to get extra attacks. And I was like, oh, that's not good. And I just remember that very specifically. So anyway,
That was also
your
last
army
edition.
doesn't have rules yet.
yes, I know. I wanted to say I wanted to go into this blind. I wanted to go in this blind. So I want to see if they kept that level of like, oh shit, I don't want to charge this. So the Contekar Terminator squad is 225 points, which that's actually on the lower end of elite squads. No, yeah, that's really low. Jesus. They are in Tartarus armor, or Tartar sauce armor. Weapon skill 5, so they do have like that nice elite weapon skill. 2 wounds across the board. Let me see here. Two attacks, 3 attacks, but I think that's normal. 8, 9 leadership.
No, 8, 9 is more of veteran level for
that's one better.
Normally it's actually like the 7, 8. They're not actually better.
Good. Okay. So 8, 9, and a weapon skill 5, which is important. They are all infantry. They are armed with Tartarus Terminator armor. Apparently, they are all armed with a heavy flamer or a Volkite Caviter, which is amazing. And they're all armed with a chain blade, which is the special one up above. They are relentless, bulky 2, chosen warriors, stubborn, lords of night, deep strike natively, which is very nice, and fear. And they could take a Dreadclaw drop pod or a Legion Land Raider as a transport. You can take 10 Contekars for 40 points each. You can give the Dissident, which is the leader, a Power Claw, an Eschaton Power Claw, for 15. So let's talk about these special rules, and I'm hoping. Let's see. A single Contekar Terminator squad numbering no more than 10 models may be taken as a compulsory HQ. Okay, is this basically retinue? Okay, so they can be a retinue for Conrad Kurz.
Or
Sevatar.
Read the sentence all over again.
Wait, maybe taken as a...
Yeah,
neither Sevatar nor Conrad Kurz. Apologies.
They're an HQ. They get to count as long as their bosses aren't there.
I wonder why. They were often dispatched to rest command from Lieutenant.
So there's 2 different things going on. Either they can be your HQ if you don't have Sevatar or Conrad Kurz, or if you do, they can be taken as a retinue. There's 2 rules there.
Okay. That's a weird one. Jesus Christ.
Retinue if he's there.
Lore-wise, these guys are kind of the enforcers, and they're what's keeping the Legion in line when Sevatar isn't there.
Okay.
That's what that rule is supposed to exemplify.
Now, let's look at this special. So they did lose.
They're
that's
cheap,
all they get?
225 for their stat line and rules. That's cheap.
Okay, 225. Now, the weapon, let's see, is a Volkite Caviter. It's 10-inch range. Ooh, that's short. Strength 6, AP 5, heavy 4 deflagrate. Oh, okay. Do you want DACA? Because that's how you get DACA.
10-inch doesn't matter.
10 inches.
Think about it this way. Your goal is to charge people. You want to be in combat. I'm going to be within 10 inches because otherwise I'm not making the charge.
But you're deep strike anyway. You're deep strike assaulting anyway.
Terminators in general don't have great, to me at least, they don't have great range on their weapons. Because a combi bolter, I don't care. Okay, 24-inch, I'm not so worried about that. And my other weapons, a lot of times, are reasonably close range, or at least the ones I want to take on them are. Or like, okay, oh, it's a stronger range, but I'm probably not
I
firing it
will point out
downfield
that
because
I
I
know
want to be able to charge something. So I'm probably firing at the thing that's within 12 or realistically 10 or less inches of me anyway.
we are doing Blood
Yeah.
Angels, and that's the next one. I will say that their Terminator squads do get like double assault cannons, so that's kind of nice. But
Yeah.
you know, the general rule of thumb
There's
is
the exception that proves the
Terminators.
rule.
But no, it is a good weapon. Like four shots, deflagrate strength 6.
And you can
Jesus.
choose. So you could choose heavy flamers or these.
So
I like these better. Kind of like these better than the flamers.
heavy flamers get wall of. No, I like these more.
Yeah.
I like these more.
Better.
Like
Yeah,
I
I like
had to
these
roll
more.
to hit, but it's 4 shots.
No, I like these more.
I'm gonna hit a good amount, and deflagrate means that I can put additional wounds out. I like that more.
Yeah. Oh, and they're fear 1. I don't know if I said that. All right, no, I like them. And they're very Jesus
Tartarus,
Christ,
I
they're
think,
cheap,
automatically
though.
comes with a little bit of a points reduction, and they don't have tons of special rules. Like they have, sorry, I should say they have special rules a good amount, but they don't have a lot of the extras. Like, okay, Lords of Night, that's sort of a somewhat standard thing that they could be a retinue, or hey, they get to be HQ choice, which I think is awesome. And their only other special thing is the weapon. They don't have the other. A lot of us special Terminators have additional rules of extras. They don't have the extras, so I think that maybe what makes them a little bit cheaper.
Okay.
And
No, I like them. They're pretty good.
with the points you're going to be spending on other things, because there's all these little upgrades you can put on. I want to give some of my units night vision. I want to give some of my units that fear, which these guys have, so they can't take that other upgrade. Having your special Terminator squad that's weapon skill 5 be on the cheaper end helps you afford some of those special things, especially if you don't want to take any of those, either of those essentially your only 2 named characters from this book, and you want these guys to be HQ choice. I love the idea of them being the HQ choice, and they can be your compulsory HQ choice as well. So you don't even have to
10-man
take,
HQ.
if you don't care about your rights of war and stuff like that, or any of the others,
10
they could be your
man.
compulsory. It could be your 1 HQ. Oh yeah.
Great for allies.
Absolutely, yeah. That's actually amazing for allies, because normally your HQ is not going to do you that much good in the ally per se. I haven't looked at the rights of war. I don't know if they care so much, but yeah, as allies, I think it's actually very, very strong. Even as the main, it's not a bad idea. Could be interesting. They're good, and Deep Strike's going to help. Deep Strike's going to do a lot of good. These guys are going to really hurt some people. They're so great though, because they only have chain blades, but that's okay.
Yeah, they're good.
All right. It is a better
the
power
better
sword.
power
Absolutely. It is definitely a better power sword.
They just
Yeah,
lack
they
access
do
to
have
everything
essentially no options really. So don't throw them against things that they're not going to do well against.
Well, they will be winning Dreadnoughts on 5s because they will always outnumber them, because each guy is 2 models
Yes.
and a Dreadnought's just 1. So winning on 5s, re-rolling actually isn't terrible, because half of the times you wound are going to end up being AP2.
No.
They're not that bad.
They'll do decent against the
kinda like it.
Terminator. The problem they're going to have is, since they're only going to be a 5-up invul, and with let's assume the Contemptor has a claw on him or something like that. If he doesn't have a claw, if he's all ranged weapons, have at it. But if he's got a claw, you're going to lose a couple of these guys to that, because you're a 5-up save with brutal 3. Yeah, you're gonna have quite a few guys die. But even there, you can still do pretty well against it. Just don't throw them against like Terminators. Throw them against like just about anything else. But you get to deep strike in, so you potentially have a lot of say in what you attempt to engage. Right, so that does it for base units, not counting HQs from this book. So at this point, we're going to go to the exemplar units there. Where's their exemplar?
Oh man, I wonder if this is what became of the.
What are you
Oh,
looking
no,
for?
it
There
doesn't
it is.
seem like it. No, the Atramentar.
Yeah,
Sorry,
page 3, the
page 3.
Atramentar Squad?
Atramentar, yeah.
We're saying that right? Saying it close enough, I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Close enough.
It's a
GW.
fan favorite unit, because these are the guys talked about in the books all the time for the special.
Oh, okay. So this is just another special Terminator unit. Very nice. Steve, do you want to take these special Terminators then? Okay.
Sure, I'll take them. So, stat line wise, it is a generic Legion Terminator Sergeant as well. They come with standard Legion Terminator weapons, commie bolters, power weapons, and Tartaros armor. They're infantry. The leader's a character. They're a Night Lord. They're relentless. They're inexorable. They have Deep Strike built in, which is really nice. They have a special rule called Cloaked in Murder. Another called Sworn Loyalty. They're bulky 2, and they're Fear 1. Let's see what those rules are real fast. Cloaked in Murder. A unit composed entirely of monsters with this rule that declares a charge. Targeting units already engaged in close combat. You get an extra +1 to reach them. And if it's successful, then all models gain a +1 to hit for the turn it's made. So they are a follow-up unit in that respect. And and Sworn Loyalty, if Sevatar is the Warlord, they may become non-compulsory troops choices and count as Terminator squads for the Master of the Atramentar Warlord trait. Interesting. I guess we'll have to find out more when we look at Sevatar. Options wise, we take up to 15.
There you go, Dan. It's your squad of 20. You get your squad of 20. 20 Terminators.
Oh!
Yes! Yes!
20 man.
I am now a Night Lord's player, ladies and
else.
gentlemen. I'd like to thank GW.
Okay. 1 and 5 have the normal options: the Heavy Flamer, the Reaper Autocannon, and the Plasma Blaster. Commie bolters can become combi weapons or Volkite chargers. But any model can have a Nostrand Chain Glaive, Power Fist, Lightning Claw, Chain Fist, Thunderhammer, pretty standard. And you have 2 Lightning Claws, and you have Great Hearts, and you could have a Headsman's Axe here if you want, which is a weird call out. Oh, because that's a weird call out.
It is cheaper. Headsman's Axe normally
cheaper?
15.
It might be cheaper.
Yeah. And the Chain Glaives are free if you want to swap
points.
them. If take them instead of power swords and actually potentially some of the other options, because then you get that little bit of extra bonus. But you can still slap some guys with some chain fists and all like that. I would probably I would swap them to Chain Glaives potentially, and then make sure to take a couple probably Chain Fists to handle anything heavy, or maybe even Thunderhammers. I just don't own Thunderhammers. Well, actually, I don't own the arms to put a Thunderhammer on, so that's not been a thing.
I feel like these guys are slightly overcosted compared to the generic. I think.
Steve, how much is a max squad? Do it for me.
Okay, so a Tartaros squad is 150 base, and it's 25 per extra guy. These are 220 base and 35 per extra guy. You're paying 10 points a model, and then some on the starting unit.
And fear.
Just for Deep Strike.
That's not what I asked. I want to know what. Hold on.
And the Cloaked in Murder, you do get some extra bonuses at least. You can essentially get hit on one better if someone else got in there first, which is nice.
Yeah, but that's a weird conditional though. You have to actually set up for that in weird ways that people don't normally.
Yes, I would agree. Although I disagree for one small reason. Again, that might not be the best way to do it. These guys have Deep Strike, so I have a good amount of control on that. Not perfect control, but I have a good amount of control. And your Legion has, or at least in my mind, should be taking units that are also other deep striking units, or units with jump packs, fast units. So I'm probably able to get in potential more than one thing into a charge. It is far from a guarantee, but still useful. Again, I wouldn't take a squad of 20. Dan would, and he's currently calculating how many points he's spending on this.
I already did. If we're not spending money on guns, because not really.
Yeah, 745.
745
But to me, you're going to at least take a couple power chain
Let's be honest. Yeah, I was gonna say. Let's be honest.
Don't tell me that's not bad. Your unit's going to realistically be 800 points.
I don't see a problem with this.
It could be troops with
an 800 point unit. That's a troop that. How many points are you playing? You're not having a problem with this. How many points are you looking at?
I put
Like
3,000.
game-wise, how big's your game?
Again, people who make fun of me forget that I used to spend like 1,200 points on a singular
a
unit.
very
So
specialized army and a very different army. I don't think you can make the
true.
comparison between Talons of the Emperor and like other stuff. Like I used to spend more in this one army that like very specialized. Essentially, no one else plays. I'm sure there's some people who do, but like no, for a bunch of guys in like 5-up invols, I don't want to spend 800 points on that. Yeah, they're gonna kill what they hit. They better. You're 800 points. You should murder whatever you hit. But I don't know how well it's going after that. Oh, they actually are. Nope. Sorry. Yeah. No, that's the same. I was looking at something else.
They're just so
Yeah.
basic. I mean, the chain glaive is a very nice thing to have, and I guess that accounts for.
I think it's the fear. I think it's the fear. Like I said, yeah, the chain glaive for free. Because normally that was 10 points on a model, on character models who could take it.
I mean, there it is. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess that's
they're
what it is.
paying the 10 points each
Well, it
essentially,
has to be.
and then they had the fear, which they had a rule for 10 points to get that to a unit, and they have deep strike, which I think was what 5. I think they had an ability for that too, which was something. So they get all the little specials, but they are paying for all of it. Didn't they have something for that?
I mean, deep strike is nice. It's just
no,
it's not a line unit.
They'll go in.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, I guess we should look at Sevatar because these guys specifically deal.
Yeah, we
with
can go a little bit out of order to talk about him because it makes sense. He apparently wants to take them. He has bonuses for having them, so it makes sense to go to him. Now, he is the one special character they have in the main book. He's the only thing that we haven't talked about out of the main book of things that we're going to talk about, of course.
Raffle.
I can discuss him. Why not? So this boy, he's 220 points. He's the Prince of Crows. He's the first captain, and he's the master of the Atramentar. So he is move 7. He's weapon skill 7, but skill 5. Normal strength and toughness, so 4s for that. 3 wounds. He's initiative 6. He's got 4 attacks. 10 leadership, and he's a 2-up save because he has artificer armor. He also has an iron halo, so 4-up invul. He's got his grenade complement, a bolt pistol, and Knight's Whisper, which is a weapon. He is a psyker as well. So special rules, obviously Night Lords, he's a master of the Legion, so he can take a rite of war with him. Independent character, of course, he's relentless. He has Fear 2 base, so that is quite nice for what these guys want to do. He has precision strikes on a 4-up. He's a dirty fighter. He's a bloody murderer. So he has the bloody murder rule, which remember that one, you want units that are pinned or falling back. You get some bonuses there in both charging and attacking, if that's the case. He has dark dreams. He's a traitor, of course, and he has his warlord trait. So he is his warlord trait. He's the master of Atramentar. He automatically gets this. He can select no other. So this is any units of Legion Cataphractii Terminators or Tartarus Terminators, including the same detachment as him, gain the Deep Strike special rule. He himself does not. So he does not have Deep Strike. They get it. When any units of Cataphractii Terminators, Tartarus Terminators, or his how do you say it? Contekar? Terminators that are part of the same detachment as Sevatar are included as part of Deep Strike Assault that does not include Sevatar. They gain the preferred enemy everything special rule for the duration of the turn in which they are deployed. In addition, an army whose warlord is Sevatar gets additional reaction in the opposing player's movement phase as long as he's not removed as a casualty. So essentially, because every other Terminator in this army, their special Terminators, have Deep Strike. So essentially, all your Terminators have Deep Strike, but not him. Your Terminator units, I should say, have Deep Strike, but not him. And when they do their Deep Strike Assault, that particular turn, They're going to have preferred enemy everything. He is a dirty fighter. So if he's engaged in a challenge with a model whose weapon skill is 5 or more, he gains instant death special roll on all attacks during the challenge. So
Oof.
all right. So if he's going against someone who's actually good, like he's not going against your sergeant in your random squad because he's weapon skill 7. So 5 or more, he's talking about, fighting your centurions or your praetors and all. He is instant death. Dark Dreams. Sevatar gains access to the shadow of the past and future psychic power only and gains no other disciplines, psychic powers, or weapons. So we'll go through his power in 1 second. So far, this dude's really cool. Shadows of the past and future. This is his power. At the start of the assault phase, a psychic check can be made for Sevatar by the controlling player. The psychic check must be made against a leadership of 7. Okay, so that's a little bit rough. That's 50-50 in general. If it's passed, he gains +1 weapon skill and attacks for the duration of the assault phase. So he gets an extra attack and an extra weapon skill. If he fails, he suffers perils of the warp. Remember, perils you can put onto the other models in your unit. So 50-50 chance he gets an extra weapon skill going to weapon skill 8 and an extra attack, and he was, I think, 4 base. Yeah, so getting the 5 base attacks. That's nuts. If you can actually, if he gets a weapon skill,
Jesus.
8, if you are twice as good, yeah, they'd be hitting you on 6s against normal people. If you're looking at normal, oh yeah, sorry, he hits them on 2s. They hit him on 6s. Yeah, so like you're not getting hurt, which is it's amazing. His weapon, Knight's Whisper. So it's a chain weapon for all rules. It's a +2 strength. It's AP2. It's melee. It's 2-handed. Has duelist edge. Murder strike on a 6, and it's mastercrafted. Duelist edge is in a challenge something. +1 initiative.
Okay. 1 initiative.
Because I don't know if I mentioned this. I might have missed it. He's initiative 6. What would he need that for against against a Primarch?
Against a Praetor with power?
Against your Praetor, essentially.
Not my Praetor, his command squad has lance. My Praetor himself does not fight. He's above that. He uses artillery rounds to settle debates.
So we went through a variety of characters up to this point. We have many, many more to go. And it seems like a lot of times the characters are in, the 200 range. Okay, this guy's 220. We've seen some right around there. Some of them are cheaper, but this guy is a monster for 220.
Yeah, no, he's you know me, I hesitate to use the word auto take. I don't like that word because it implies the meta of 40k. It always rubbed me the wrong way. But that side note being said, I think this guy's pretty auto take. If named characters are your thing.
It's their guy.
Yeah.
It's their guy. Of course you're taking him.
Reason to me you wouldn't want to take this guy is if you weren't running Terminators. Because his Warlord trait is everything about Terminators. There, I would say you consider, because maybe you want to run a bunch of assault squads or spoilers, all kinds of stuff like that. If you're not running Terminators, okay, maybe not. If you're running Terminators as well, this guy's awesome. He's going to do tons and tons of good stuff for you. He wants the challenge. He is going to challenge. They're probably going to accept with their sergeant because they don't want their independent character getting murdered. You're going to kill that guy super easy. And you're at fear 2, so they're probably going to run and put him in a unit where you can sweep with him. Because with fear 2, you're going to be sweeping units away.
Yeah, no, he's... it's funny, too, because I was going to say that one of my favorite close combat characters so far has been that Dark Angels dude. The one with the 3-up invulnerable.
Dark Angels? They don't have anyone with 3-up invul.
Yeah, you do. You do. It's a 3-up invulnerable in close combat.
You're talking about Marduk, I think. Is that the one you're talking about?
It's going to drive me up the wall.
Horsewain?
No, it's the other one. I think it's literally the other one who has
I haven't looked at him.
Yes, Horsewain.
Yeah, it's a 3-up in close combat. Yeah,
Well, it
he's a
might be
3-up in close
Margate right there,
combat.
but I know one of them
Horse
had,
Wayne.
yeah. And I remember him being, oh, this is a good brawler. Like, he's a pretty good brawler. He's got a 3-up and invulnerable, which is really good. He can dish out some damage. I was like, oh, he's a pretty good close combat character. And then I read Sevatar, and I'm like, holy shit.
I mean,
Like,
so I have Horse Wayne open.
god damn.
Of course, Swain and Sevatar
Yes.
are also rivals in the lore. They fight.
Are they really?
Yeah, they fight a lot during
Yeah.
the Thrones
Actually,
Crusade.
looking at it, they would be pretty equal because both of them in a challenge would be the same initiative. Weapon-wise, pretty. What is the strength of his weapon? Is it his base strength? That's the only thing. His weapon, Knight's Whisper, he doesn't get any. Oh, sorry, it's +2 strength. Okay, yeah, there. Sorry, Knight's Whisper +2 strength. So in a close combat, there's a very good chance they murder each other. Because Horse Wayne is murder strike on a 4-up.
Yeah.
Where this guy is essentially causing instant death for all intents and purposes, murder strike at this sort of case. So they're probably mutual annihilation to some extent between those two guys. But this guy's great, and you can try to give him an extra weapon skill and attack if you're willing to hurt your squad. Which why not? Your Night Lords, kill them.
I'm not mistaken. His model looks
Yeah, I don't
pretty
know
cool
what he
too. I
looks
can't remember.
like.
Hold on.
He
let me
probably
pull
looks
up
cool.
Forge World
I'm sure he looks
again.
cool. Sevatar,
Let me see.
he's standing on a
give me-
on
Oh,
a white
he
sparse
does.
body.
He does.
Oh yeah, no, wow.
Yeah, it's
Look
a
at
glaive.
that sword too. Or glaive? Wait.
Yeah, it's definitely
glaive,
a chain
yeah.
weapon.
Oh yeah.
So he
looks...
also has the wings coming up, but I don't mind his face as much because the wings are straight up, so it looks a little less ridiculous. And he's of course festooned with the pieces of meat all over him. But he is cool, and his rules are really good. He's a good, strong model. Absolutely.
Only in fucking 40K, Dave. Only in fucking 40K. He is festooned.
Yeah,
with
there's probably
pieces
other
of
games. I
meat.
can't think of ones in the moment, but there's definitely other games where that's a thing. But it is everywhere in somewhat in 30K and everywhere by the time you get to 40K, such that GW in the past has sold sets of just skulls.
Yes.
All right, so that takes us to some other characters. That ends it for him, puts us to some other characters. The next character is actually a leech choice, the Flaymaster.
Yes, this is a weird one. I also do not know how to say it. I've been trying.
Mawdrym.
While you're talking, I was looking. I was like, I don't want. I know it's Mawdrym.
Lianshai?
Yeah,
Lianshai.
Lianshai.
Let's go with that.
I think it's Lianshai. The problem is I don't know what the Night Lords are representing. Like, like White Scars are Mongolian.
It's everyone. It's literally just. It's Australia.
That explains why it's so deadly.
Is it Australia? Oh my God, is it?
No.
No, GW, stop it.
I only say Australia because of the history as a penal colony. That's all.
Well, I was also going to say because of GW's history with certain models. Oh man, now I really want to see. So yeah, Len Sahai. I'll take him. He looks cool. I'll take him. I've never. Yeah. So Mawdrym Len Sahai, movement 7, weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 5, strength and toughness 4, only 3 wounds. Only 3. Initiative 5, 2 attacks. Ugh. He's an elite. It's okay. Leadership 8, 3-up save. He's 125.
Yeah, he's an apothecary.
Oh, he's a Primus Medicae. Okay, probably should have read his title. Yeah, I realized, like, as I was like, 3-up save. What the? He's a Primus Medicae. Okay, he's got an Archaeotech. Oh my God, finally an Archaeotech pistol. Jesus. He's got Red Jaka, frag crack grenades, power armor, refractor field, and
Narphagia.
The Narphagia. I'm gonna say the Narphagia. He's an infantry. He's independent character, unfit for command. Hilarious. And a traitor. All right, so let's take a look at him. So the Red Jaka is. Oh, there's the knife you were talking about. Now I'm putting 2 together, Dave. Sorry, before the podcast was going, we were talking about some weird power knife. I'm like, what the fuck? So the Red Jaka is a strength 3, AP 3, murder, strike 5-up specialist weapon.
The strength 3 part hurts, but that's fine.
Okay, so I know I don't want to skip too far ahead, but Alpha Legion have a power dagger that is exactly the same. And everyone takes them because you just stab people. Oh, it also has I should put out, also has like sudden strike 1, so that's what makes it better. You can attack.
Yeah.
Oh, he's initiative 5.
Yeah.
So basically, this is an Alpha Legion power dagger. And people take those. They're very effective because you're wounding Space Marines on 5s anyway. So you might as well attack before Space Marine and kill them before they kill you. You're crit fishing. Well, look at me using a war cry term. You're crit fishing, but in a positive
the
way.
negative way.
I don't know.
All right.
Anyway, like, instead of the negative way. Narphagia. I kind of want to read the fluff for like 5 seconds. So it is a Narthecium. So I love this. It's got many additional features, few of which appear to be of any aid to those injured on the battlefield.
Yeah, it's used to keep him alive, not others.
Okay. That's great, though. It reminds me of the old joke of like a doctor keeps you alive, a medic makes you comfortable while you die. A little dark humor from the army. So at the end of each turn, if Mawdrym has less than his starting number of wounds, but has not been removed as a casualty and has joined a unit that has at least one other model with a Legion of Stars Night Lord special rule, the controller player may, on a roll of a d6 on a 4+, regain a wound lost early in the battle. If it regains a wound in this way, a model with the Night Lord special rule suffers a wound with no armor save or damage mitigation roll allowed. Okay, stupid question. That allows an invulnerable save or no?
No, because it says no armor saves,
Yes,
so you are allowed.
Yes, because it's an armor save, not an invulnerable save. Yes. Okay, that's fine. I always get choked up on that. Additionally, all models or infantry, cavalry in the unit gain feel no pain 5+ special rule. Models of the artillery subtype are not affected by this rule. Okay, yeah. So they get 5+. Okay. And then unfit for command, he may never be selected as your army's warlord. All right, so, I mean, he's only 125 points. So he's an apothecary with the ability to heal himself. How much is an apothecary normally?
Yeah.
They're cheap, I know that.
A base apothecary is 45.
Oh.
But they don't have a refractor field.
If you want to look at the more fancy guy...
Yeah, look at the Primus Medicae.
Primus Medicae.
Yeah.
It's a 60-point model. I want to say it's a 45-point upgrade.
So that's already, 105 points. They probably come with a refractor field. And he's got a special weapon, so let's say 10 points. So, I mean, and he can heal himself. I mean, he's okay. I like him. He's not bad.
Yeah, the Primus Medicae is an extra 45 if you do
right? Am I crazy?
No,
that's 105. So he's an extra 20 points over the Primus Medicae.
The Primus Medicae is also considered a poor investment.
Unless you have Terminators. You could stick the Primus Medicae with Terminators.
This guy's it doesn't have those same sort of restrictions, so he can go wherever he wants.
Yeah, wherever he wants. I like him. He's not bad.
Funny. He's good for what he does. He gives you your 5+ feel no pain, which is great. His weapon's fine. No big problem with his weapon, and he can heal himself in a hilarious way by damaging your own models.
Oh, you don't need that. You don't need that arm.
Yes.
He's a great little flavor piece.
Yeah, it's like if you take him, you're not hurting yourself, but if you don't take him, you're also not hurting yourself. Oh yeah, you know what I meant.
Yeah.
You know the phrase. Like if you're not missing out anything if you don't take him, but you're also not hurting yourself.
It comes down to points. I mean? Do you have the spare points, and do you want to have a fun model? Absolutely, he's a fun model for the points. But if the points are getting tight, he is a lot more expensive than maybe the other options for healing that you might be looking at. Hmm?
On the offhand, though, Dave, this is if you want to take an elite Primus Medicae that can go into Terminator units, this is the person. Like, remember, putting an apothecary in a Terminator unit. Oh, sorry, I should say Primus Medicae in a Terminator unit is pretty damn good. So I could see you.
True. If your HQ slots are filled.
True.
Yes.
He's a great alternative.
Yeah, like I take him with 3 HQs. That's not bad. Like I said, he's not bad. Like I'm looking at him like, wow, he's. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of like the I have to use this as an example, like the Lair Shield Captain from Custodes. You're not hampering yourself by taking him.
One of these days,
but
we
you're
have
also
to
not
have you play other stuff that's not
taking
Custodes, so you
he's
have a different point of reference.
or
Yes.
Mechanicum, or Demons, or the last time I played a Legion
Nope,
was the
didn't
White
even know you owned
Scars. I
those
don't even think
things.
you remember me with them, Dave. Remember they were tan?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't
Remember
think
they
I
were
even saw
tan.
those
Brett painted
models,
them.
honestly. I really don't.
Wow. Yeah, no, that was my only Legion army. And then I sold them, and that was when I
So when you
think
went
that's
all
when I
special
first bought
snowflake on us
Mechanicum.
over there.
Yeah, that was the day. That was the day. No, but he's cool. I like him. He's neat. Literally, that's like the
All right,
perfect
that
phrase
leaves
for him. He's
us
neat.
2 people left. Steve, do you care which of these last 2 guys you talk about? Go for it.
I'll take the next guy, I guess. So next up, we have another HQ choice, Kheron Ophion of the Kyroptera. He's the Master of the Shroud and Eventide, Captain 39th Company, the Coward. 150
Yeah.
points. He has a full-blown Praetor stat line. But 1 less leadership because he's a coward. And 1 less save, only a 3-up on him. Interesting. He has a Volkite Serpenta, a special weapon called Revenant, Melta Bombs, Frag and Crack Grenades, Power Armor, and a thing called the Bloody Aegis. He's a unique character, independent character, Master of the Legion, Relentless, Stubborn, the Coward. He has a custom Warlord trait, and he's a traitor. If he's the Warlord, he automatically has this Warlord trait, Aberrant Bravery. If you control fewer objectives than your opponent, this guy, any knight larger than 12, gains the Stubborn special rule. In addition, you get to get an extra reaction in the movement phase.
Oh, yeah.
This is so situational. There's one mission with objective
several
markers.
of them have. I thought there was only
Maybe
1 or
2?
2 that don't.
I think there's 2.
Oh.
No, I think there's 2 that do. And then others use table zone.
Yeah, you might be right. I can take a look at
Or
that while you
kill
talk about
points.
this guy.
Yeah. That's exceptionally situational. It's not good at all. Okay. The Bloody Aegis, it is it's a piece of armor that he made from the starship he used to command. Gives him a 4-up invulnerable save, which comes a 3-up in close combat. In a challenge, each hit roll of 1 made by the opponent results in a strength 4 hit against that model. Okay, so you roll 1 to hit and you get punished for it, like your enemy does. That's neat.
Is that before the reroll or after?
Yeah, it's gonna be after because the reroll replaces the original roll.
Okay.
Yeah, looking it up, there's only 2 missions that use objectives. So yeah, his Warlord trait is not good.
Yeah. He has the Coward, so if he loses a wound, he gains Feel No Pain 4-up.
That's so great.
When he has 1 wound left, it becomes a 3-up.
If he gets down to 1 wound,
What?
yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. 3-up Feel No Pain?
Uh-huh.
Jesus.
And then his custom weapon is Revenant. It's a special chain weapon. It's got strength +2, AP 3, melee, shred, breaching 5-up, mastercrafted. So it's a one-handed chain glaive that's breaching on 5s and mastercrafted.
No.
That's not a bad weapon. He's honestly not bad if you don't mind.
But he doesn't have
not
to be your
having a
Warlord
trait.
Yeah. He's one of the first ones where I wouldn't make him my Warlord. Yeah, because then he won't take a trait, then you can take an actual good Warlord trait, like making everyone have fear.
Yeah. Honestly, take Contekar, make them the Warlord.
Yeah.
This guy just
actually,
hangs out.
That's not a bad way to do it. Because he does have Master of the Legion, which the Contekar was preventing you from getting a Rite of War. Now you still get your Rite of War. And he's a 3-up save, but you get a guy who's actually in some ways pretty good. He's got a 4-up invul save, he gets a 3-up in close combat, and he can get himself a really good Feel No Pain. Just, don't go against someone who's going to double you out in a challenge. But he's a coward, so put someone else in.
He's ironically pretty good at fighting against power fists.
Oh, because his invul, yeah.
Because he has a 3-up invul. Yeah, who cares if your armor's a 3-up?
True.
If your
Although he won't get his other bonuses then if he gets killed. If you go against anything else, it's pretty good. because he won't get his feel no pain, especially if he takes his
Oh, that's
wound.
true. That's
Now
true.
he's got
So,
4 up feel no pain or 3 up. Yeah,
oh yeah, and Power Fist will instant kill him. Okay, so then
but
that
even
that
then, he's
just
still
means
not
that
bad
he's
because
good
he's got a
against power
breaching
axes.
weapon on a
There we go.
5 up with his good strength.
No,
He wouldn't
not
be
at all.
bad against it, but I would be a little bit concerned there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad bit.
Ah,
Just bad.
he's cute. He's cute.
Yeah, I like him. Like, he's not bad. Like, he's actually
And
pretty freaking cool.
150 points is pretty cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
So like he's playable. He's absolutely playable.
I'm almost thinking like Night Lords almost want to take all 3 HQs, and then that 4th HQ. If you could take like the name, like all named characters, take Sevatar, take Kheron, take oh wait, there's only 2. Take some other HQ, and take the Contekar and then the Apothecary. I think that's not bad.
The reason why I don't think that would be good for them is they might not have their special consulares, but they have a lot of little ways to splice in some points into units. And I think if you take too many of those specials, you're eating up so many of your points. Now I can't give my guys night vision or some of the other special rules that I might want to. I do like the idea of taking these and the Contekar, and those are your 2 HQs. And that also meets having a Terminator squad, so a nice and strong squad to actually do some work with, and keep the rest a little cheap.
Yeah.
He's fun. Don't take him as your warlord. He's a terrible warlord. I mean he's a coward, so I can understand. Just don't take him as your warlord. He'll do you plenty good anywhere else. All right, and we get ourselves to the last unit here. This is out of the legacies. That's where we've been reading the last few from. Nakrid Thole. It's 185 points. He is the master of the Cross of Bone. He's the Faceless Prince. All right, so he's moved 7. He's got his weapon skill 6, his ballistic skill 5, strength 4, toughness 4 with his 3 wounds, initiative 6. So better than a Praetor in certain ways. 4 attacks, very similar to Upsave. The big thing is the leadership 8. So he has a really bad leadership for an HQ unit. He's got a Serpenta. He's got a Flay Whip, a special weapon. He's got the Devil's Dew. He's got Artificer Armor and an Iron Halo. He's an independent character. He's got Master of the Legion. He's relentless. Counterattack 1, so pretty good either way. Especially with initiative 6, he's swinging for a lot of people. He has Fear 1, which is useful. He's a traitor, and he has Valor's Shadow. So for Valor's Shadow, he may not be allocated wounds due to the precision strikes or precision shot special rule. In addition, when he is reduced to 0 wounds, the controlling player must roll a d6. On a 5 up, he is still removed as a casualty, but does not count as being destroyed for the purpose of scoring victory points or achieving specific mission objectives. So you can't single him out.
Found your warlord.
Yeah, that's actually
your warlord.
And
yeah, pretty much.
He's unique. So he doesn't have a warlord trait, so you can take anything you want. He doesn't actually come with one base, at least so far. Maybe he's got a rule, as we'll read down. Maybe he's got something stupid he does. But so far, yeah, he can't be singled out. And on a 5 up, he doesn't count for things like slaying the warlord. His Nostraman Flay Whip. It's strength of user, so that part's not too great for the moment. AP 4. It's melee, breaching a 6 up, electro charge. Web of Steel, and Specialist Weapon. So Electro Charge. Any model that takes an unsaved wound from the weapon reduces its initial characteristic to 1 until the end of the controlling player's next turn. He grabs you with a whip. And Web of Steel. A model with a melee weapon with this special rule may choose to forfeit all of its normal attacks in order to make a single attack against each enemy model from a unit that is locked in combat with and within 2 inches of the wielder, using the Flay Whip's profile. If this option is used, then you cannot use the Electro Charge for unsaved wounds. So you can either do your normal attacks, which for him would be 3. Let's not assume a charge or anything crazy. And it's a special weapon, so you're not getting any bonuses. Or you can give up your 3 attacks and swing at do the number of attacks as models within 2 inches of you, which, depending on what you're fighting, could potentially be a reasonable amount more. It could actually be a lot if you get yourself really into the middle. AP4 is kind of garbage. This guy does not... oh, no, he's got a better weapon. All right, he's got a Devil's Due. All right, so that's your group weapon. His other one's a power weapon. The Devil's Due, it's strength plus 2 AP2, so here's your challenge weapon. It's unwieldy, has the rule of Devil's Due. It's a murder strike on a 6-up and mastercrafted. Devil's Due is if an enemy model in base contact with this model has its initiative reduced by the effects of any other weapon or special rule, then this model may make a single additional attack against the enemy model. The additional attack is made immediately before the enemy model would attack and uses the profile above. So, okay, wait. So, if you hit them with the other weapon and cause a wound, then you get to make an attack with this weapon. And it's right before they would make an attack, and you're hitting them with a +2 strength, so strength 6, AP2. Murder strike on a 6, but still. How many points was this guy? 185? I want to say it was 185. Okay.
I'm telling you, man.
No,
just take all the named HQs if they allow it.
So you'd be running out of points. I am very middle of the road on this guy. His counterattack is nice, so you should be getting the extra attack. Staying on 5 attacks. Fear 1 is good. Valor's Shadow is useful because it's going to help him survive in a lot of ways. The combination of his weapons, I mean, his whip being AP4, like, you're not going to make that... Huh?
But possibly 20 attacks.
You're not getting...
Possibly 20 attacks.
How are you getting 20 attacks?
Like, if you charge a 20-man attack bomb...
Do you think he's going to be within
put
2
him
inches
straight
of
in the
20
middle of
guys?
a tactical squad? I don't know. Everyone's on the tree.
Yeah. No,
you're right.
Distance-wise, it's not... That won't work. Not at all.
It's still hilarious.
I mean, yeah, he's not the one who takes the challenge or challenges, I don't think, because I don't think you do the... They set it up to be, I'm going to go in a challenge. I'm going to hit you with my whip. Oh, you took a wound. I get to hit you with the Devil's Due. I get to hit you with it's a hatchet. I get to hit you with my hatchet. Yeah, but you get your armor save versus the first one. And if you fail, maybe on a 6-up, my murder strike takes you down. Otherwise, maybe I do another wound to you. Depending on what you are, you're not dead. Or maybe if you only had 1 wound, the flayed whip already killed you anyway. Does anyone have better impression of this guy? I'm very ho-hum on him.
Not really. He's good. I agree with you though. In all of my joking, he's very middle of the
options.
road.
He's not. I'd rather take the coward than this guy.
I would take the coward, Sevatar, and the apothecary. Those are like my top 3.
Now remember, each Master of the Legion need 1,000 points in your army.
Okay, we're playing a 3,000 point game then. That's normal.
It is. I'm just letting you know.
That's a normal. That is a 1,000% normal game right
you
there.
Want to be a larger game anyway. Otherwise, it's probably not going to be very good for you if it's a smaller game and you're trying to run super points heavy in your HQ choices and all. Yeah, this guy's fine. His protection stuff is fun. Not counting for certain things is fun. I just don't think he necessarily gets the job done. For what you probably want to do with this army, he feels somewhat defensive, but also somewhat offensive, but I don't think he excels in either. And I would prefer him to kind of like sit in one side or the other. Like his first ability is somewhat defensive, but his weapons are meant to be more offensive, but I don't think they have the right amount of offense. So I don't know. If anyone else has stronger feelings or wants to tout this guy being great or decry him, feel free.
Fun special rule of the whip.
Which is
I think
neat.
that's all
It's a neat and cool rule, but
with him.
I don't know. I'm not banking on it until we see Dan's things that have 4-up saves. Right now, when you're playing Space Marines, I'm not thrilled with that. All right, that does it for this Legion that had almost like, so not counting like reactions and warlord traits, essentially those things. When you think of units, it was 3, 4. It was just as many things outside of the book as in the book. So let's do some final thoughts. Yeah.
So, little side note. A little side note. A lot of people were scared when the book dropped, and they didn't see
Yeah.
like a lot of the Night Lord shit, and people were like, "Oh my god, this sucks." So I'm kind of glad that GW either already wrote this ahead of time, or at least like saw what was going
It's not a
on and
fuck
was
up.
like,
I don't think it's that
"Yeah,
at
we
all.
fucked
It's
up.
did they have
Here's
a
all the rest of
model?
the shit."
Sevatar has a model. Conrad Kurz, of course, has a model, but Sevatar is the only other named character with a model in this army. That's the reason why I don't think they put the other ones in. They didn't want to put people in that either didn't have models or weren't going to have models in the reasonable near future, or they didn't plan on it. I think that's why they put the other guys in. Here's a model. Yeah, think about it. Here's a model in your book
Oh,
that
that's
I
spot on.
can't buy, and that realistically you had no intention of coming out with, maybe ever, or maybe for a super long time. Yeah, they avoided that. Like the Dark Angels got one because the guy now is on pre-order, but he was a event exclusive model for like for a while now. So like you could get him, and they talked about him. You knew he was going to happen, so he's in the book. The rest of them, not. If you're not getting a model, you don't get in the book. So, all right, let's do some final sign-off thoughts here. Who has a thought? Who wants to go first? Oh yeah.
They play like the Fluff. They only want to engage in fights that they know they're going to win, and they're not going to win it through brute force. They're going to win because they quietly stab you in the dark, or because there's more of them than there are of you. So it plays very true to the Legion. It's one of those armies where you could see where things work. It's just maneuvering to get them into position. I think they're great. I think it's 100% viable Legion to run with.
I have to agree. I think it's a good Legion. Just
No one
they're
is.
not as simple as Imperial Fist, but they still work. Yeah, no, it is. They still work. They just in the outnumbering, you can go bulky and then still outnumber. They're just a really cool Legion, and right now they have one of the strongest characters
Right under, not counting
that we've seen so
Primarchs.
far.
In my mind, he's like under Sigismund and maybe tied with like maybe someone like Corswain or something like that. But he's right there, absolutely at the top.
Well, remember Sigismund. The only reason Sigismund is
That's
the best
fine. He has that
is
rule.
because of Eternal Warrior.
It still counts. Having that rule, it still counts. Yeah.
No, I know that's what
we don't normally go through Rights of War. I do want to discuss it really briefly, one of them, because I was looking at it, and Dan, you're going to love this because I know you didn't read it yet. Otherwise, you would have told us all about it. The Swift Blade. The first effect, I'll read it real fast. Using this Right of War, you may take up to 5 HQ choices. There's some other restrictions and stuff throughout. That's fine.
Yeah.
No one in particular is your Warlord. They're kind of all your Warlord, and there's some other stuff, but you talked about wanting to take a whole bunch of HQs and all of that. One of your Rights of War lets you take 5. Yeah.
I'm so happy.
Yep.
Basically, you're playing a biker gang in this Right of War.
You have to kill all those HQs to slay the Warlord and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's amazing. The amount of I don't think you know
I've seen
the smile on my face.
But yeah, I just looked because I wanted to just take a quick idea of what theirs did and if it really was game altering. That one is reasonably game altering, of course. I agree with everything you guys said. I think it absolutely fits their fluff. I think it is very interesting the things they do. Do you feel they're a good army from the box? In other words, do you think that box supports them?
Yeah.
The fact that you get 10 Terminators and 40 Marines means it's a great start because it's an army that depends on having bodies. Terminators are slow. You have cool Terminator options, so you're going to use the Spartan. And maybe you won't use the Contemptor, to the maximal effect with Legion rules. But so what? It's still a Contemptor, which is still an insanely good model. Yes, box set works beautifully with these guys.
Only thing I would say is somewhat of a downside to that, and let's hope GW addresses this later. This Legion to me wants some bolt pistol arms and some chain arms, which they haven't really given us. I think the Mark 3s or 4s might have some of that in there, but I haven't seen one yet because they all sold out and they're never giving them to me ever, apparently. I
Even then,
agree.
just massive gunline squad
Yeah.
works because the +1 to wound works at range. It's just whatever you do.
I guess when I
outnumber them
think
or
Night
pin
Lords,
them.
like that absolutely makes sense. I absolutely agree they can do that. I guess just like in my mind, much like World Eaters, and World Eaters probably fit it better, but sort of like that. I just imagine a bunch of guys trying to rush at you and trying to terrify you. But yeah, shooting in that I would absolutely do 2 20-man tac squads is the way I would build those if I was doing the 40. And if you want to go into some special weapons, yeah, get some rotor cannons and all of that. But I think this army is going to be helped a lot when you can get appropriate jump packs easily and you can get some, sword arms and all. But they're fun though. If you are one of more of the dark proclivities, you'll enjoy these
Take
guys.
5 HQs.
There you go.
Just take 5 HQs. Live life.
I don't know the other. There's
No,
some
you
other
want
restrictions. Has to be primary.
Yeah.
You cannot. So you cannot take any model whose rules state it must be the army's warlord. So like you can't take the Primarch because it says he has to be a warlord. So if someone says they must be a warlord, you can't. And you cannot include one or more models with the heavy, bombard, slow, super heavy, or artillery unit subtypes. So some restrictions, but nothing that would be bothering you in the beginning of playing the game. But yeah, you can take a whole bunch of them.
At bigger points, you'll miss it. You'll miss the super heavy and slow units at big points.
Yep, true. That's the one thing.
No
the
cataphracti because no heavy.
I think the other parts you're probably fine with, but the cataphracti will hurt because they're the ones in the box. Although they're selling them separate and they're selling the Tartaros separate. So if you are going with these guys, they have some guys who are Tartaros, and Tartaros are coming out in a week from the time of this, or sorry, 2 weeks from the time of this recording.
Quick question: Are they
10 men?
Are they
Terminators
10
are
man
10
boxes
men.
or 20 man?
Marines are 20.
And
Okay.
man,
yeah, bigger armor means you can't fit as many guys in there. And it's a Kheron. I'm excited about that.
Oh, the Kheron's good. Oh God, I really hope that they release like plastic. I know they won't.
They will.
But I kind of hope they release plastic top to the Kheron because the
I
Omega
absolutely believe
is
they will.
so
Or I think they're going to do the same
good.
way they did with the Leviathan. There's going to be a separate kit that has a different top, and then they're going to sell the top separate. It's in the book. There's the thing. Like, it's in the main book. I imagine it has to, because it's its own entry. It's not like, oh, it's, here's like your Kratos. Okay, when you look at your Kratos lists all 3 weapons and you can swap them out. If you look at Kheron with the Omega plasma array or whatever it is, that's a separate page. That's a separate entry. So to me, it's going to just be a separate box. They'll probably sell the top separately that you can kind of like buy, and then we've seen some prices, although we've only seen it in pounds. So we'll have to wait and see what they actually do when they put it into dollars. I'm hoping the conversion is real.
That always freaks me out because they they don't convert like as per the market.
What I'm curious,
they convert as per whatever the fuck they want to do.
What I'm curious, I haven't done it yet, and I don't have it in front of me to do it quickly. We know the prices they had for certain other things in pounds. I'm curious, will that stay consistent? So if it was blank pounds to dollars and that was a whatever the rate was, will this new stuff be the same rate? Or hopefully maybe it's better. I know at least in pounds, none of it's that bad. It's actually pretty good, all things considered. The Kherons in pounds were actually a little cheaper than you would think, maybe. At least in pounds. Who knows what they're going to do in dollars? They could really hurt us a lot. Or if they want to send us something, they're more than welcome to. But they don't. GW doesn't listen to us. Not yet.
GW.
Yeah, I'll review stuff, but
wink, wink.
We're not popular enough yet. So if more people listen, we might get free stuff, which would be cool, and then we can tell you the good and bad of it.
No.
Which Dan will get none of because he has special.
I'd love to
special
see
snowflake
demon.
armies. Since you have all that different stuff, it will. Your next book is what? They'll
come out.
End
They'll
of the
come
year?
out.
No, Mechanicum. Yeah, I know Mechanicum you're getting in 2 weeks. The
Mechanicum.
other book, it's what's supposed to be like November, December? October? That's not bad
October.
then.
No, it was like
Okay.
October. It was either
Not
October or
bad.
November. I can't remember.
Are you going to do the hardcover book or are you going to do the digital?
It was either October. I hate to say it like this. I might just do both.
I hate
know
my
that
wallet.
sounds.
I don't want it to hurt.
No. It sounds okay. So it sounds stupid, but no. Yeah, I hate my wallet.
Mm.
No, because I like the hardcover because I like collecting. You know what I mean? Like I like having the hardcover, especially if like people. Now that not COVID's not over, but like I can allow people to come back to my house and play. I like having the hardcover there because it's easier to read than electronic because I'm right at home. You know what I mean? But I don't want to lug around the black book to the hobby shop because that's like an extra thing to carry.
I've been taking my actual work bag with me to play games because I have the rule book. I have the Liber Astartes book. I'll also put my dice and all the other stuff in there. So I mean, it's my models and my work bag coming with me everywhere. It is, and yeah, it does.
Yeah, it sucks. There's no nice way to say this. It kind of just sucks.
It would have been nice. To some extent, I probably understand why they did it, but it would have been nice if the digital was ready for the day one as well with the others, because I absolutely would have went digital for the Liber book. Maybe later I would have picked up the hardcover. I went digital originally just so I can carry less stuff.
I would have loved, on a side note, I would have loved for them to just release.
Absolutely. That's what I think it should have been.
Like digital day one. You know what I mean?
To me, it's crazy that it wasn't.
Yeah. Like.
Right, that gets us through 7 legions. That means we have 11 more to go. But we're getting there with... Yeah. We're not almost done. We're not even halfway done yet.
Yeah, we're almost done.
We are working on that. And at least for the next bit, when we're able to hopefully do these 2 a week, we can actually get through them in a reasonable amount of time and then start getting back to some of the other stuff we used to do, which would be nice. But to not marathon these. All right. I think...
Wait,
when they come out, we will.
We have to do.
We absolutely will. We can do a little special thing for once they're out. We'll make sure we give it. Actually, with that, I mean, we talked about the playtests, so we might be able to talk about them pretty fast. In terms of because normally you want to wait a little bit to try them out and play them, but since we talked about the playtests and you've been using them, once you fully digested how they're different, we can discuss it, and that'll probably be a shorter discussion because they're like, don't get me wrong, there's probably tons of units in there. But like for the average person, they probably don't necessarily need every little thing gone over in as much detail. So we can maybe take a little bit of liberties with the way we talk about it. Or if it's big enough, we do it in some pieces. We do it in a way that's useful, especially because it might be an army that people aren't used to, especially if you're one of these new players. So I know at least at Red Seal where I've been playing, not so much Maplewood because a bunch of us there have either had it or were much more experienced. But a lot of the guys there, this is either their first bit of GW or maybe like, oh, they played some 9th and now they're going back to this and all, starting one of these. So a lot of them wouldn't have seen anything like Mechanicum before, where it's a very different army. So it might be worthwhile to go through that and kind of discuss a lot more, especially how to play them and specifically how to fight against them, because they might be a bit of a spoiler for people who aren't used to what they're going to do. And in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks when that comes out, we will record something about them. We'll see what we should start with. And if people have suggestions, feel free to leave comments on the YouTube of what you might want to hear about them first, or you can leave it on the video we did related to Mechanicum already. But we'll do something once they're out. Once Dan has it in his hands. But you'll have to do a lot of talking because I don't know what they're doing digital. If it's a good price, I'll pick it up. Otherwise, we're gonna lay on you.
They're actually they were my first 30K army, but they were I shouldn't say they were my first, but not my first. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like White Scars were my first, but I didn't really play them. Mechanicum was legitimately the first one I purchased, painted by myself, modeled by myself, like actually put in effort. You know what I mean? So I'm actually excited. I'm actually excited to see these guys as I'm building 30 fucking Myrmidons. And the reason I'm saying that is because I forgot how much I hate gluing.
Oh yeah, because it's resin, so you can't even usually most of it you can't plastic glue where you can get like that good tack to it.
And you want to take a wild guess how short these arms are? They're half the size of a Space Marine arm because they're not a full arm; they're little tiny segmented arms.
That is
It
true.
is.
You did this
I
to
literally
yourself.
forgot
Reap
about
what
this.
you sow.
Bro, I'm going to send a picture to you after this podcast is over and you finish recording. I'm going to send a picture to you, and you
Okay.
can put, you can put at the end of the show how much you laughed at my misery. It's bad. Or just look at Myrmidon Secutors. Give the viewers one last laugh. Viewers or listeners, if you're listening, just Google Myrmidon Secutors, right? And then look at the teeny tiny arms that are grasping the power axes that they have. And Lord have that. With that, I'm
Yep.
out. And with that, ladies and gentlemen,
We'll close that out.
I'll leave you with
All
that
right,
laugh.
stop it there. Let me stop it over here. And that'll do it for us tonight. As always, I do want to thank anyone and everyone who does listen. Remember, if you want to reach out to us or have any comments or anything like that, the YouTube's a great spot to do that. We all do check it, and I try to make sure I respond back to anything put there. We also do have our email, trainkickersnj@gmail.com. For the next episode, the plan is to continue the series we're currently doing, so that would put us to Blood Angels. We also have at least one of the episodes for next week. We'll be continuing going through the Legions. But after that, we'll actually get the drop for the Liber Mechanicum book. And our goal for that is to be able to have something to you as close to day one as we can, discussing it, and especially comparing it to the coverage we did of the leaks that we have. And then we also want to be able to actually get some battle reports to you guys. Our first one will probably be with the new Mechanicum book. That's the thought. It's probably going to be a little, not the cleanest put together one, but we figure it gets something new out, gets people to see it, and gives us a good starting off point to be able to therefore improve, after that point. Well, on behalf of everyone here at the show, have some good hobbying and some great gaming.